Okay, things seem to be running okay, so let's get back to it. It's Satisfactory. The bus is alive and well, and it's being fully fed by just about all the raw ingredients. The only things missing, which we will deal with only when needed, is aluminium ingots and gas. Yeah, we don't have gas here. Nitrogen gas. That's the only gas that we get out of the ground, right? Nitrogen. Yes, which means everything else we do have here. We've got water, we've got sand, deuterium, limestone, we've got the whole lot. Very good. In that case, we start building. And how hard could it be? If we need to adapt blueprints, we adapt accordingly. And we start with this. We produce iron plates. Iron plates are good. Good iron plates. Wondering if I should have them set to dump and then measure how they come across. Because I want iron plates so that I can make reinforced iron plates. Best way to make this? I imagine the best way is to do it via adding rubber. I'm concerned about that because I know rubber is something that one needs a metric ton of. But maybe I could use rubber anyway. The demands on it aren't that egregious, surely. Rubber is going to be needed in my modular engines at a fairly hefty rate. Rubber is also used in the production of computers at a heavy rate. Also in radio control systems at a very heavy rate. Okay, now I don't want to use rubber for this. I think we should be sticking to using iron here because iron isn't used for much else. Iron is used just for reinforced iron plates. At least out of anything that we're going to use much of. And the iron plates are used in smart plating and in modular frames. And the modular frames we use a lot of. The ratio isn't great and you need a lot of them to make a heavy frame. It's also used in versatile framework, but heavy frame is the main thing I'm looking at here. Look at that, 5:1 is the best ratio we get for heavy modular framing. Of which, I do not want to use the screw one, so we're looking 8:3 actually. Not too bad, but still, 8:3. And then these things are further used in making control units and diffused frames. So we know we're going to need a lot of heavy frames, meaning we need a lot of the reinforced plates. So we need iron plates for that, and that's about the only use outside of the smart plating, which is used only for project save the puppies and things. So we take this and we make it into reinforced iron plates. My question is, am I going to make those reinforced iron plates with screws? I would like to avoid screws, but the nice thing about screws is that's just iron, isn't it? Yeah, we can just do cast screws here. Shove in the ingots, out come the screws. There's no use for these ingots otherwise, so if I just take the screws... Is that a better rate on these screws, by the way? It's 1:1 or it's 5:20? Well, 1:4. So I actually think it's the same consumption, right? Yeah, 5 and 5 times that would be 20. I could make it out of steel... But I don't think I want to make steel screws. Although that is a lot of screws for a little bit of steel. Gosh, am I actually tempted by steel screws? I don't think I am. I'd rather keep things simple. And simple is making them out of just iron. Yeah, so if I bring in cast screws and I use those screws to make reinforced iron plates... The bolted plate seems like a poor option. You're using more screws, and all you're doing is increasing the output rate, whereas more machines could do the same thing. What about stitched iron plating, though? That's just going to use deuterium. Lowers the amount of iron plates. It's quite hungry on the wire, but wire is something we can make rather easily using fused wire like so. Yeah, just bring out a little bit of deuterium ingots, a little bit of copper. And I can also make that with iron wire, huh? 5 to make 9. Is that better? No, I don't think it is. I think I'll just make a whole bunch of reinforced iron plate and a whole bunch of assemblers. Yeah, I can get behind that. But what I can't get behind is not having my splitter thing work. So I'm going to see if I can just do it like this. My thought is if I delete this first, and then I use my beloved splitter, which is right here. And of course it doesn't want to line up with existing lines here. One wonders why. That looks like it would line up just fine and dandy. So if I shoved you here, I could feed you in and then out. No mucking about. Of course, the order that you go to and from is very important. I like the idea of balancing this, because it might not be the only way that this stuff gets balanced. Okay, yeah, this was the magic bullet needed to make this work. Although we don't feed into the center bit. At least not currently. Let's have it set up so that we can. There we go. Now it should bring out a nicely balanced load to shove into here. And it does shove into there, right? Nice. And I love being able to make my Mark 6s wherever. In my run, I just ran the screws off the steel that I would have sunk anyway. Never needed more. Mainly because I never used screws. What's the rate of my iron coming in anyway? We got, I think we have tons of iron that we can make use of, and since iron doesn't have many other uses, I got no problem using it for screws into the plates. So how much of this stuff are we making anyway? We're making 20 times 8 times 2, 40 times 8. 4 8's 320. I do not want to belt my screws. So what am I doing here? Am I just assembling screws and then shoving it into reinforced plating? I want to keep that space in case I need to somehow make more of this. I always want to be able to scale up. So in that respect, am I just going to take this off and split off another bunch for the screws and then bring them together? That seems fair enough. At this point, I'm starting to think I should have these just laid in by default, but I do rather like the design. Hey, I can even line it up like so. That's handy. And there's plenty of space here, so get in. That is not the right place to get in. I do like keeping it nice and neat, although I really think that my planning for the production scaling isn't up to par. Yeah, because I need to think a little bit about how many of these reinforced iron plates I'm going to be making and how much of this I want. Because hold on, don't I have a to-do list thing here? No, that's probably for building it, right? Yeah, so it is. Okay, well, let's not worry about such things. Let's instead just get moving. Production needs to be done. This stuff is made in assemblers here. And there's nothing wrong with just having this stuff set up and then chugging it out as we need, especially when I have loads of space in that direction to just go in that direction. So in that respect, we go to our 8x constructors. Did I fix this to have little bits on the end? It looks like I did. Okay, good job me. Good job me for thinking ahead. And in that case, we can just line you up, Buttercup. Would be easier if I could see how this thing comes to its edges. Which I struggle to do so, but that seems about right. Love leaving space between things. Space is something we have plenty of. So let's just get you fed in and have you people dealing me with just regular screws. Cast screws, that is. Makes things simple, means I never have to deal with rods. Actually, would I ever need rods? Is rods a thing that people would need? I'll have to look into that as well. You get your power, please. And thus, the steel screws begin. Yeah, let's ponder if we're ever going to need iron rods. No, 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 maybe. Also maybe. So, do we need them for modular frames? No, because I'm going to make them out of steel. Do we need them for rotors? No, because I'm going to make it out of steel, probably. Yeah. Okay, that's good. So we never need the iron rods. Excellent to know. And we have a crappy little factory making them for our little dimensional vortex if needed. So there's screws and there are iron plates. So over here goes something to bring all that together. And actually, rather than have this space separated for building along, what I'll do is if I need to multiply this, I'll build up. Always consider that one can build up. Also, I like it when over here we use Fix-It Foundation. It's got much more defined borders and placements within the square. Makes it easier to place down my blueprints. So over here we can make our reinforced plates out of these two things. Now, I didn't really work out the ratios of what I'm building here because I think ratios for jumps, let's not consider that. After all, it's going to be balanced on what it takes off of here on production side, so there's no need to worry about over or under production here. I could set it to whatever and then under or overclock accordingly. So I'm not going to be worried about that. I'm just going to think about wanting lots of reinforced plates. So tell me about reinforced iron plates. We make them not bolted, that's faster, but it costs more. So it's half and half here. Assembler. Yeah, so just set up an assembler. Set up, I don't know how many of these things we're going to need, but let's set up maybe 18 of them. Well, no, 16, maybe 24 of them. I'll see what works. We need constructors. Set to default and set to going out here. Where do you get fed from? You get fed from this side, no matter how we... Wait, these are constructors. Those are constructors. I need not constructors, but something else. Don't tell me I never set up an array for the next level. It's not constructor. What's the thing that comes after? An assembler. I never set up an assembler blueprint. Why does that not seem right? I guess I never did. What does this factory make? KPI reports. I don't know what a KPI... Oh, key performance indicators. Oh, I've not heard that term in a long time, thankfully. Okay, let's clear the blueprint designer and make a new one. And this will be something like, but not necessarily, 8 times assemblers. And I have no problem building up here. So. Assemblers. They are notably not quite the right width for what we want here. Let's just center them. Center them here. Note that they just don't quite move the way I need to, but that's what control moving is for. Also, couldn't I have the feeder bits here split from the center? And then the outputs get shredded, or the other way around. Which do I prefer? Generally, though, more goes in than out. So I think it's fine if they share an out belt more than anything else. That means they're going to need room for the out belting. That seems sufficient. What do you mean I didn't center him correctly? Well, I mean exactly that. I didn't center it correctly. Get out of here. Show me once more my assembler. H, and then center it so that corner is right in the center of the blueprintville. Good. And then realize it was the wrong way around again. Don't worry, we'll get into the flow eventually. That is what I wanted. Except I needed a bit more space. That should suffice, but... I think that's okay, as long as I can fit a merger in the middle with them. That is a little too close, though. Guess that's fine. Still only 4 side by side. I'm sure we could fit another one, but let's make do with this. I want you there, but also equally further back. Why are you just slightly off, though? Come on, there we go. And with that, we could surely fit a conveyor merger right in the middle. Good. Probably want it turned around, though. Mm-hmm. Good. Very good. Alright, so we just have this set up as 8 of them, and then we can stamp down 8 as we see fit. I see no way this can go wrong. Again, we could build up, but I could just as similarly build this on top of each other. I don't know, do I want to blueprint assemblers that are on top of each other? Or is it easier just to stamp them down? I don't think I'll blueprint it unless it looks like I'm definitely going to need that. Then I will consider it. There we go, yes, have it coming back towards us here. Back towards us, and back towards us. And I see little reason not to have the center of our merger go at full pelt with Mark 6s. We have access to them, we have them automated, just use them. Bully. I'm a little unhappy about where you're set up. I want you a little closer. I like having a touch of a gap between them if necessary. Can't be nudged because it was locked in there, but you can be nudged from here. Except you're going the wrong way. That's what I'm talking about. Jolly good. And this is exceptionally good, just having everything pre-wired. Otherwise it will be forgotten. No point setting recipes here though. Copy pasting is easy. Alright, very good. This looks like something one can stamp down nice and easily. Of course we need their inputs now, don't we? Oh lord, what if we discover that these don't work? These don't seem to work for everything. Let's try slamming down a couple of them. I'm going to save this, print it, and see if that connects. If it doesn't, then we're in bad town, and we'll have to make it so that we don't have those directly attaching into these. Which I'd rather not, but 8 times assemblers. Show me the assembler. Keep it saved, and let's try it. Connect the power poles to each other. Nah, you're thinking too ahead. Thinking too advanced for me. Right, assemblers, assemble. It appears to work. Good. Very good. Why does it work with some and not with others? Coffee stain, please. Still, that is excellent news. I did not want to have to go through the kerfuffle we go through with the refineries every time. I'm almost at the point of wanting to remake my refinery design with that in mind. Almost. So. Some of them get fed in from the top, some of them get fed in from the bottom. And it probably doesn't really matter which. But I guess I'll keep it like this. I wonder if it's cleverer to have some of them just feed up from higher. Does make it a bit easier just to do vertical splitting and that rather than fancy crap where it has to come out and go along and then up and along. Might just do it like that. Yeah, because that way this one can just come along rather smoothly like so. Rather smoothly like so. Right, I'm so... in fact, I'm finally going to do it. See the stackable conveyor pole? I'm actually going to stick that in number 8. Sadly, it doesn't switch to the other kind of stuff, but now you're mine. And of course, you don't quite line up with this until I nudge it slightly. But yes, having something like this come along seems very good. Yeah, saves me space on the sides as well, and working up is always good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Alright, very well then. Is that too close, or are you gonna throw me a wobbler? I don't even mind having it go a little bit further up in case that's needed for some obscure reason. However, you don't want to fit in from that range, so I do need to give myself a bit more space to work with. Can't blame you, that's a pretty much zero length build, isn't it? And I can't go you to... Oh! Well, turns out I could blame you. Excellent. Alright, very good. Jake, make the input mergers and splitters first, and a little outward. I think the problem is the mergers and the splitters rather than lifts, I think. You think the problem is that I'm putting these on top of that for my blueprinting? Is that what you're getting at? I can swiftly test it, of course. Good to test it now, because I'd be heartbroken to make all this work in the blueprint and then not work in real life. That sure looks like it's working. Beautiful. That looks pretty damn good to me. I'm gonna points farm like mad in this stream. That's probably why they put the point system there in the first place. Fool people into watching streams they don't want to watch. And yeah, you could just keep the stream running in an inactive window, muted. But then what about the points you get from clicking on that little button that shows up? Had you considered that? Well, you probably had. I think there's a plugin that automates that, but Twitch doesn't want you knowing that. Yeah, there you go, browser extension. That's your way forward. Right, all is well and good if and only if I can get you set up here as well. And we have decided that this length works. Have we? I think we have. I hope we have. Oh, I am king. Nice, nice. I like that. Nice and tight. Do I like it enough, though? No, I don't. Why don't I like it enough? Because it's not the right type of belt. I want this all Mark 6 so that this is ready for the highest of throughputs. It's sheer perfection. I wonder, can this thing go up less? No, it cannot be nudged. Very well. There we go. My manifold manifest. That is so tight, man. So tight. So much clipping through the elevators. No, it's not clicking. That's structural design right there. Does that look like clipping to you? Remember, the belt no longer has a belt. It's simply modifying the field around the items to move them along, and therefore it can accommodate such things that your human eyes perceive as clipping. This is hard to center. Accusing me of clipping. Chat members sitting there asking themselves, I wonder who that bell is tolling for. Save it for the hog! I will. There's Tarkin Rex to say he'll save it for the Haagen-Dazs. The channel that brought us magical Roman water brings us magical fix-it conveyors. I'm very happy with my Roman water. If Julius really wants to fix it, they could add a graphic for the aqueduct so that it works that way. Okay, is there any conceivable problem with this setup? If I were to stack it on top of each other, maybe, but I think it'll be fine. One question I might have is, how do I split this in easily? I guess I can just take off the belt and then cram it in as we see fit. It shouldn't be a big deal. Splitters will handle this easily. Go around both sides, and then this thing can come up or down or around or whatever. It should be very easy to tile. Should be easy to do upsy-downsy now that we have vertical splitters. I think this will work fine, and its first trial by fire will be in making me plenty of iron frame things. Reinforced iron frames. It's not frames though, it's the other thing. Plates. Basic crap that you should make within your first half an hour of playing. Maybe even the first 10 minutes. And here we are doing it at 100 and something hours. All is well. Right, the goods come along, they get fed into you. Do you clip nicely or fit nicely? No, asking you to fit nicely is too much. I'll at least have you in line with this. Is that traveling in the correct direction? No, it is not. And you can't rotate once you pressed H, and you can't come back out by one single bit. Yeah. That is the right way around. Yeah, once I've got it locked like this, I would... Oh, I could always press H to unlock it, and then I can spin it around. I keep using right-click as a method to take one step back, but in this game, that one step back is often interpreted as bad times for me. I can take the completed plates, I can bring them over here, I can shove them into the toilet, and then put them up to the new home for finished goods, which I might actually do underground. I might bring things underground and then up and along here into that. Although there's no need to, I suppose. Anyway, there you go. If we need to double this, we can double this. All depends on our needs. But we're making regular reinforced iron plates here. Feels bad using normal recipes, right? We went into all that effort to get the fancy recipes. And here we are using regular schmuck stuff. But it's about that flexibility. Now, where are my iron plates? Here you are. And we're safe in the knowledge that this is the only use for you, right? I'm willing to believe so. I don't want the lift, I want the splitter. Nice and simple. And then here you are. You'll get a similar treatment, but you need to be elevated. He's having a bit of a think. Having this pre-elevated does complicate matters naturally. And this is meant to be my nice, clean operation, right? No reason to think it isn't. Or another way to put it, it never wasn't. The belt is too steep. This guy's got a real piece of work on him. Can I split along one of these? Absolutely not. Yeah, you don't like putting this on turns for some reason. Alright then, be that way. Probably should have elevated you before you got this far then. But we still have the power to do that. How far up are you? First, second, third rung. First, second, third rung. And no time for curving here. Get this done straight to the pretzel. And there are your screws. And there are your plates. Why are you taking nothing? Uh-oh. So when I said these things work fine, what I mean is they don't work fine at all. Ah, crumbs. Okay, what is the problem here? I think somebody said what they think the problem is, and I'm not seeing it in the chat now. Let's scroll back up. Make the inputs and merger splitters first, and a little outward. The problem is with the mergers and splitters rather than the lifts. Can't we just say the problems with the game? Oh man, I'm gonna have to re-delete all these things and remake them again. Come back and see you're using screws. Why? I didn't want to use any of the other ingredients. Screws use iron, and iron seems pretty useless, so good to use that rather than my precious other things like rubber and plastic. Alright, you all manually rebuild, but we need to find a solution to this because I'm sick of this not working. There we go, so the reinforced iron plates are coming out. Shouldn't be a bother. 5 per minute times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's still only 40 a minute. That doesn't feel like a lot. However, the consumption of screws is going to be 60 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's rather a lot. Are we making them fast enough for that? Actually, if it's 60 times 8 and I'm making them 50 times 8, then these things aren't actually fast enough, which is amusing. Probably an indicator that I'm going to want quite a bit more screws made to keep up with this. Seems like quite the indicator. Also not a big problem, as it only uses my plentiful iron bits. What's the rate of this thing coming along here? Talk to me, conveyor thing. I always forget the name of it. Here it is, conveyor throughput. Seems steady, so its immediate answer should be spot on. Wait, it's maximum? 50 times 8 isn't maximum. It's clearly backed up then, which means it will run out. So the things at the back of the manifold will run out the fastest, right? No, the things at the front will run out the fastest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 50 a minute. Should only be coming out 400 a minute. I guess the reason is because these back ones are still full of screws. Once they're out, then this stuff's going to start flowing considerably slowly. So I do want a second lot of this. Slope the output from the splitter down into the machine. What? Oh, you mean for redesigning this? Yeah, I will have to work on a redesign of that, I'm certain. But for now, I'm going to take this blueprint and make it again. Probably slap bang on top of it. Preferably rotated. Good, not good. Might still be good. Beautiful. And then ups the daisy right on top. I see not a problem. They've even got those little flat heads to keep themselves well connected here. So all I need to do is put a little splitter along here somewhere. And then bring these guys up. Is that level? That looks level to me. And then there were screws. Invalid shape, you say? But I don't want to agree. Hang on. Can I actually have you connected in here and not be a complete joke? Well, I could do one of those things. Look at that seamless connection. I'm certainly looking at that seamless connection. I'm also looking at these guys not actively working, but we can just copy and paste. And if I need more screws, then it's less of a job just to amp this up. Now we can check that they're all working, because they're all green. So there we go. Plenty of screws to make plenty of reinforced plates, and those reinforced plates are going to be thrown straight onto the bus. Because they have multiple uses, and that's a good reason to put something onto the bus. And that means we start putting a bus over here. Now, how exactly do I do that? Haven't entirely thought that one through. But we can start thinking now. Why do my hotkeys not working? 1, 2, 3. What's going on? 1, 2, 3. Still just going 1, 2, 3 here. Alt 1, Control 1, caps lock, space. Alt tab in and out. No. It's making noises though. Was it a problem with this? It appears to have been. Okay. Must have been some kind of UX issue. Maybe I was still interacting with some UX I had open. think you were the last one. Yeah, that explains it. I think. I'll choose to believe that explains it. Game's good, UX is bad. And this is my belty stuff, though. Or my bussy stuff. I want my bus buffer. And I pretty much just want it in line with the one below it. So just have you like so. That looks centered. Centered enough. Now, how do I start bringing things over? Because there's going to be a lot of stuff that gets produced here, and I want to shove it over here in the back of the bus. I could elevate it quite high and bring it over here, or I could bring it under the factory floor and then shunt it up to here. Shunting it up to here seems quite agreeable.
You could be doing useful things.
She must treat glass frame foundation as an aesthetic thing rather than regular foundation. She's not wrong, though, but I don't want her to be right. Did I even want that here? I could have shoved this a little bit further back, but I guess it makes very little difference, does it? Don't know if I'll need any kind of organization here. I probably won't need multiple holes for this. Come to think of it, did I manually do all of these whole things? That feels like something I should have somewhat automated. Anyway, in case it's needed, we'll have the option here, so... There we go. Why the buffer? Just bring the finished product to the pair... Because I like big buffers. I am well aware they serve no great purpose in a world with infinite resources. But I like them, and that is a good enough reason for me to have them. Now, it doesn't answer the question of how I get these over here. Just bring it over. Just bring it over directly and then hit the roof as soon as possible. That seems fine, because I doubt I'm going to use the ceiling for transporting much around. But mixed prefers down then up. My problem with being down is that it's going to be hard to navigate over to there. I'd have to bring it up over here, but that's not undoable, is it? Does kind of mean that I would want a situation like this, though. There are no half foundation, no half glass frame foundations, but I could do half foundations along here. But I'd rather have the freedom to be able to bring up more from the bottom if need be. So maybe I should bring it up and over to here. That does seem complicated, though. Frame foundation could look nice. Regular frame foundation. Exploring options mentally right now. Still think I had a better idea there with a hole. And to think we were meant to be past this part. Yeah, just get it over here and get it fed into these. Seems nice and simple, especially when they're coming along this way. It shouldn't be a problem to cut, or there shouldn't be a problem with these things cutting. And even if there is, it wouldn't be too hard to just elevate one above and below each other. So that's what I'll do. Keep it simple. The KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Although please don't have the bendy tip at the end. Don't know why it loves to do it, but this game loves its bendy tips of those things. Yes, I'd like you there, please. Alright, nice and relatively simple. Along they come, and in they go to the buffer. Just as somebody really doesn't want. Keep it simple and stupid. I see, I see. Maybe you do. Better prepare myself for this as well, because this is the first of many things that's going to be entering my bus. Blueprints. Bus belts, 5 times whatever. Set to default. Blueprint auto connect. Kind of, but I believe that was where we wanted them. And of course it doesn't want to remember that, but I want it to remember that. Boom. Why is this not quite right? Why is it going down? What is wrong here? What is different? Why are you sunk slightly into the floor? Okay, let's not wonder about that. It's fine. Because when I build more of them, I'll have them attached to this blueprint, so it won't be a problem. Yes, good, good. And then outflow my delicious reinforced iron plates. Ready to be used for something else, which is going to be rather soon, I dare to think. Don't like that slow rate of them coming out here, though. That's a very pathetic rate of iron plate production. I'm already thinking this thing needs to be doubled or more. But the problem is, then I need even more screws. But is that actually a problem? This seems like a problem that should be solved when I come back and go, I need to double this, because it's absolutely trivial to just stack another... I can double this by stacking it on top of each other. I can double that, stacking it on top of each other. And there's plenty of space to weave these belts together to feed into more of these, and I've got infinite space out in that direction, so don't worry about it. Maybe the screws need to be direct fed into the assembler. That is a pretty good idea. But it's not what we're doing, is it? The screw belt is not moving. No, that's fine. I make more screws than I need. Which means I could underclock or whatever, but let's not worry about that. Let's keep moving. What's the next thing we need to produce? Other than a functional blueprint that doesn't have my my elevator things not work. Now that we have those, is it time to do steel goods or what? It might be time for steel, and there are plenty of steel things to make, aren't there? Yeah, steel beams are something I'm going to want a ton of, and I want those molded. 120 and 80, bringing it 45 per minute. In a foundry, no less. I don't think I have a foundry design, do I? Refinery, blender, ooh, 8 times foundry. Wait a second, why do I feel like this thing isn't going to work? Ahem. Is this gonna work? Or do we think that this thing will be okay? I have no idea. I don't trust my blueprints now, what with this issue. Yeah, the screws are flowing fine. No, Protozomac, I don't like overusing predictions. That's why I didn't use it earlier for Slay the Spire, although people who believe in my failure will probably be a little bit miffed about us not having it. Depends on what recipes you're using. You might need a lot of steel pipes, but not a lot of steel beams. Well, I'll just make them and then see what happens. If I make them and end up not using them, then it's not going to eat it off of the bus, is it? So it won't be a problem. But I am concerned and curious about my foundry. Is this thing actually going to work? Because it does have these... Yeah, it's got these bits. These tend to be the egregious parts that don't seem to work for me. So I should check and see. So what do we feed into here to test it out? I should test it to make me a steel cast plate. You plug into here. I'll get you some power and test you out. You'll be happy if you get iron and steel ingots. Steel ingot, iron ingot. Iron ingot and steel ingot. Would you believe it? The steel is not flowing into that, apparently. Yeah, so it's inside the splitter, but the splitter doesn't connect to the lift. But why? That or the lift doesn't connect to this. What is the problem here? Somebody spelt it out, but I didn't quite comprehend. Why is this not working? Inquiring minds wish to know. It's because you put it directly on top of the lift. Why is that a problem, though? They're made to fit directly onto the lifts. You have lift, this thing snaps onto it, it all works. But it's not connecting if I save it as a blueprint. Is there any way to make this kind of contraption as the blueprint and actually save it properly? The lift does not connect to this. It does, though. It does here. And it does over there once we fix it. But I would like to not have to keep fixing it every time I lay down my blueprint. Does that mean we just have to expand it so that the splitters are away from the lifts? That seems like a pain in the bum. Is this a reported bug anyway? Should I be reporting it? Kinda disgusted though, because everything works out so nicely here. I wonder if the problem is with the splitter, with the conveyor belt coming together like this. What if it connected like... Oh, well, that's a bum deal right there. Not enough space. Damn it, Ada. What if we connected the lift here, then it came down here and fed directly into that? Do you think that would work? Or would it have problems staying connected to the lift anyway? Because we made this, and this works. Oh, hang on, did we? Yeah, notably we had to have a space between these because that wouldn't work. Ah. Wait, but this one works. You do work, right? Yeah. See, here's a blueprint with a lift going straight into the conveyor. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Brainwave. The splitter was made and then you were attached to it, not the other way around. I think I see. I think. Jake, one thing to try. Lift the machines up 4 meters. Use a conveyor floor hole on the machine intakes. Then use that 4 meters as a logistic underflooring. Lift the machines up 4 meters. Use a conveyor floor on the machine intakes. A conveyor floor on the intakes. A conveyor floor. A conveyor lift floor hole? If the issue comes from putting a splitter on the existing lift, if you put the lift on last, it should work. That's what I'm seeing here. That does extend things out a fair bit, though. Harder to make it fit properly as well. What? Apparently that is okay? There is no way, right? Not a sausage of a chance. But maybe it does. Well, even if it does work, that's beyond hideous. Try using conveyor floor holes more. I'm pretty sure it'll work that way. I'm still not sure I understand, so let's try this. Let's clear this. And then try building this thing here. So I want my ATEX assemblers. Is that set up nice and good, or good and nice? Well, it's good enough. And then let's try raising it. I think that's 2 meters. And there's another 2 meters. So if you're set up like this... Well, it's quite nice that it brings itself out like that, but what's the implication on how we build this then? The problem remains like so. Let's take this poor sucker as an example, tear all this stuff off. Take it off here so I can figure out how to connect it to another beast as well. A beast within. So the issue is having the audacity to build this, which works, but doesn't work with blueprints. Might be salvageable if I build this out a little bit. Which cannot be done without a bit of setup. Alternatively, doesn't like that because it's off by a fraction. Okay. Wonder if that would work. What do we think of that? Or does that probably still not connect? This will work. Will it though? I mean, this connection here seems a bit funky. It doesn't have this kind of fluffy buffer bit here, which it would normally have. Yeah, save it and test it. Okay. Would it not be easier to have a single one? Yeah, we should test with a single one. Clear all this nonsense. I wish I would build from this box when I'm building things here, but no. Right, let's try it then. I gave up playing because of the endless busy work without blueprints, says Dennis Wolf. And it's pretty restrictive. Oh yeah, the blueprints are restrictive. It seems to be on purpose. And they are good, but man, I would just rather have Factorio blueprints. Much, much easier to work with. Right, so how much distance do I even need here? Probably more than this. Almost certainly more than this. It likes that, but I'm not sure I like that. In fact, what I should do to make my life even easier is have it so that I know what I'm working with here. So I'm going to... I constantly have this problem. I'm going to have to rebuild the blueprints, the blueprint maker, so it's just slightly not off the edge. Yeah, it needs to be brought one tile in and 1.5 one other way. Anyway, that's my concern, not yours. Except these things don't have obvious squares around them, so I'm back to the point where we've got the smallest gap between them. And then +1 probably. Then I can go 3 above. So do we think this will work? And we could test another one that's a little bit further away. Just a little bit further away. So it's not Clippington. By the way, curiously, would you work? Wow! Baby-sized! Ooh, I rather like that. I struggle to think of its utility, but I like that. Would that have any utility? Could I nip a little under it? You know what? I could. Oh, that is darling. I like that a lot. I want to see if we can make this work. Alright, that means you guys, Gingawa. You're all gone. Anything else here? It doesn't look like it. So this is our test. Just call this test assembler. Let's see if we can make it work. That's called a stubby lift. Well, I quite like stubby lifts. Shout out to short stacks. Right. Get over there. You refuse. Well now. Let's get force feeding you. Yeah, those are splitters. Which is fine, I guess, but... Wait... Oh, I deleted the wrong bleeding one. Whoops. That's not a good test, then. Which means you have to go. Right, so stubby lift needs me to attach you there and then attach you here. Wait, it doesn't like it now. Because you're the wrong way around? I think so. Right, let's try this again, shall we? I believe I said I was going to have it... You know what, that's fine. Because I'm trying to test stubby lift things here. Cute little stubby lift. You go. Don't delete that this time. Still save this as the test. I thought I'd just be building. I did not expect to be once again waging war on the blueprint designer. But this is where we're at. What do you want to make for me? Pretty much anything is fine. How about a reinforced iron plate? I got the gubbins right here. And the bits can go in that way and that way. What? Okay, I guess it's no big deal. Donk, donk. You take the... I don't have iron plates, do I? No, I do not, but I can because that's no big deal at all. So, you've got the screws, you take those iron plates that I definitely picked up. I'm impressed at how that actually connects. She works. Okay, so what's the valuable lesson that we've got today? You cannot blueprint this directly into that. Even though it works, the game doesn't like it. I can only assume this is a known issue, otherwise I would have expected to be hotfixed in the update that we just had. And by known, I mean since 1.0. Anyway, disappointing, but at least we have knowledge now. That does mean I'm going to have to redesign blueprints. Probably all of the array blueprints that I have, except the assembler one, the constructor ones, because they don't use that. But that means this is getting reconfigured with our new knowledge. Also, definitely moving you. I'm sick of you. I need you to be properly aligned, which you were not. Blueprint maker, Mark III. Slam it down so it's nicely aligned with... Hang on now. The problem might be with the blueprint thing, not with me. Maybe. Where's that assembler? Yeah, look at that. See, it's all off by a half unit. So I actually need to move this thing a half unit over and over. So the edges of this thing is just a bit too wide and whatnot. All right, very well then. Make the blueprint machine. Latch it in somewhere. Like here, right on the corner. And then we have to nudge it off and off. So it needs to be offset. What a weird setup. Version 3, my final. Final. Hologram cannot be placed in... Okay, so you can't put a blueprint designer in the blueprint designer. No blueprintception. Right, so now hopefully when I slam down an assembler, it does indeed... Why? Why is it still off by 1? How can this be? I just offset the whole thing by 1 and that wasn't good enough. Perhaps I should give up trying to think about it. Did you offset the wrong way? It shouldn't matter. It just, everything was off by a half nudge. So I half nudged this thing up and over and it's still offset. I guess that's not a huge deal, but it does bother me. Because I once again have blueprinting to do. I guess I'm not selling the experience to anyone. Good thing I'm not here to sell it. Yeah, because that's how it was before, and I offset it like that, and that didn't work. How very strange. Okay, never mind that. We need to build some working setups here. Let's start with the assembler. Should I just make it again from scratch? Possibly, but possibly not. Let's see if we can make do without... No, it was offset a bit. But maybe... Maybe I could make this work. Here's our 8x assemblers. Get the output centered nicely. I do have a bit of space to work with on either side. So hopefully we could make something come and work with that. Align the black grid with the foundation below. Ignore the blueprint design borders. But it shouldn't matter. It was being offset by a half nudge either way. And it still didn't lock in the way I wanted it to. Although maybe it's locked in now? No, that's still off. Not a concern. Because once we build it correctly once, we no longer need to worry about it. The problem here, of course, was that they all involved using these upward mobility thingers. But at least the output's fine, so I guess it's fine if I just take this and delete. I'm a little saddened. It's sad to make work and then realize it doesn't work and then you have to destroy it all, especially when it worked, just the game did not agree. And damn, did I thought it really worked well. It's like when you actually get the right solution and then the teacher goes, yeah, but you didn't figure it out the right way. I used to get a fair bit of that. I am one of those madmen that actually enjoyed mathematics in school, but I often found the correct solution in the wrong way. I came to an agreement with the teacher. She said, okay, you don't have to show you're working, but if you're wrong, next time you do it, you must show you're working. And that was agreeable. And we could have those kinds of agreements because I went to a very small school, such that you get plenty of teacher attention. You're not having to battle against 100 other kids. There were about 14 or 16 kids in my entire school. There were 2 empty years. We were so small we had to merge with another school, and then we became the blindingly large size of 49 kids in the entire school. 2 whole classrooms. 3 different teachers. So I'd pretty much just make it the way we had it, right? In this case, the splitter comes along from here. It needs to be nudged a half nudge along. I think we found that this distance worked. 1, 2. And then, if we liked it there, 1, 2, 3. And then we can make do with the mini-me. But it must be plugged into you. Is that too close, though? I don't like the way it clips into the machine like that. Do you think that'll work? Given that the problem is this connection, I'm inclined to believe that it will work. Except, the mini-me should be done on this side. That's cute, but I'm actually not fond of how close it is, although I don't leave myself any space to spare if I bring it any further over. We're going to be using this design a ton, so let's actually make it very, very right. I thought we were done with this, Jake. Please spare us. Your lordship. One, 2, 3. Seems to work. Starting to wonder if rather than doing this manually each time, I should just make this little bit blueprinted so that I don't keep doing this, but it'll be done in no time. And let's make sure it absolutely positively works. That's fine, and we did literally just test this, so if this still doesn't work from this setup, then I don't know what to say. Probably just cry. Why no ground level? You mean why no foundation under it? Because I place foundation and work from there. I don't like putting these things already on foundations. If that makes any sense, which I am open to the idea that it might not. So 2, and then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Get rid of the underbellies. And we're good. He means why not run the input belts along the ground? Well, I could do that, but I could also not. Gives me a bit of space and flexibility for running things along another way. You are right, though. That would be sensible. But now I need to flex on this actually working. Surely you understand the need to flex. Alright, stubby elevators. Jake falls to the sunk cost fallacy once again. It's not a fallacy if it's true. Is it 2 then 3? It is 2 then 3. 2, then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to have a profound appreciation for Factorio when this is all over. One, two, three. And 1, 2, 3. And then realize you made one wrong here. Whoa, made a bunch of them wrong. Gone, 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 gone. And feed them in. Attaching from lift to you. Hey, you know what's going to be really fun? Remaking our refineries. Because there is still going to be stuff that we're going to need to refine here. We could use our existing refinery and then fix it each time, but I'd rather fix it once and then never again. Alright, connect these things together and we're all good. And then discover there's a problem with this, potentially. And then, of course, I want my wee pulley bits here. And we now know that this fits in because it just does, okay? Hang on. These actually align now. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Looking good. I don't mind keeping the belt supports there. Could be useful for going over and under. Yeah, you can fit the cheeky little bugger under there. Looks good even. Yeah, it was almost like the game was warning me with these things not aligning. Telling me, Jake, it doesn't work. But this is the only signal I can give you. Please understand. I'm sorry to say I do not pick up on subtle signals, not at all. I'm very good at taking backhanded compliments and thinking they're just really nice people. That's why I get along with chat so well. Okay, riddle me a reason why this won't work. Everything comes along, gets split, gets fed, gets consolidated, and everybody is happy, especially me. The power is connected, it all activates, and I can now save this as my 8 times assembler. 8x assembler with the assembler icon. You already have this. Wait, I didn't? I did? What? Ah, I believe I call it assemblers, plural. Well, now they're both saved over, and then there's no risk of me accidentally deleting the wrong one. Because it's all wrong. You do all that and you still have to hit apply. It's very strange. Okay. Let's triage all the garbage that we picked up from doing all that building work. Which is cables, high thingamajigger, quick wire, motors. Wait, motors? Oh, well, they're gone now. Rotors, bits, other bits, more bits. Keep time crystals, I like those. Iron plates, iron rods, frame things, reinforced bits, steel, more steel. And it gets crunched away in my coupon factory, which is another real factory that we really have. Okay, with that horrible situation behind us, can we now start making steel? Or is it not going to work out that nicely for me? Already evident that I'm going to need a lot more space here, so let's go and get our glass foundations. Set to blueprint connection. Also evident that I would really like more power here, but hang on. If I just stood up here, I don't need to hover, I can just lay foundation as far as the eye can see. And we can murder the bitrate while we do it. Unless I run away from what I'm building. Did you redo the Foundry blueprint? No, the Foundry blueprint is still broken. Will I fix it? Yes. When will I fix it? I will fix it as soon as we have to build one. Steel beams need to be beefed up. Yeah, no kidding. My production of steel beams is insufficient back at the old crappy base, which is why steel is now what we build up. When it comes to iron goods, there's no need for iron rods. We have the reinforced iron plates, and we can scale up production, which we're definitely going to need to, because this is pathetic production. Maybe I should just shard these things already. Because thinking about it, we have... What do we have? We have 50 times 16. We've got 800 screws coming in here. And we're using 60 times 8 of them, 480. What was the first number that I had? I can't remember. Probably 50 times 16, right? 800. So 480 over 800, 0.6. 800 over 480. I can do this at 166%. So I think I should. 166 point many sixes percent. I could double the buildings here and then underclock them even, but that'll be fine. So yes, let's get that sharded up so we can enjoy considerably more reinforced iron plates, which again I think I'm going to need in considerable quantity between the smart plating and the frames. So I still think this is paltry production, and we're going to need to, hopefully not an order of magnitude more, but we might need to double and double it again. But doubling all this is easy. This iron production should keep us good, and we know that we can upgrade the iron production because, yeah, that's right. When we first brought over iron, we didn't have Mark 6 belt ingredients automated. Now that we do, we know that we can turn this into 2 Mark 6 belts, and since this is pretty much the only use for iron, that seems like a decent thing to do. Anyway, how's that buffer looking? The buffer is coming along. Let's do steel. Steel is going to need steel, but there's going to be more to it than that, surely. I need steel beams and steel pipes. And when I make the reinforced beams, I can make those out of pipes as well if I think it's better. It might not be because it's slower, but the thing about pipes is aren't they made cheaper? Like a lot cheaper. Don't think I want to iron pipe. I want to molded steel my pipe. Make it 5 to 5 and make it much faster. So I have no problem... Oh, it's foundry work. I have no problem bringing over concrete together to make that. Is that a better ratio than making steel beams in large quantities? 24 to 9, 5 to 5. So it seems much better to use the steel pipes, but do I still need those for the encased ones? What's the ratio there? I use double the amount and I do them slower. Double Double versus... It still seems cheaper to use these the steel pipes and encase those for the encased ones. Yeah, encased industrial pipes. 6 to 1 though. 6 to 1 as opposed to 3 to 1. It's kind of a scary reduction. It still seems fine. How much are these used? Yeah, they're used a lot. Oh, but they're only used a lot in heavy flexible frames. Might not need that many of them. Yeah, if only we slooped the slooping the stuff at this phase. Obviously what we need to do. So I think I need a token amount of steel beams. Wait, do I even need steel beams at all? If I can make flexible framework without steel beams... No, it's needed for flexible framework, so we do need some of these coming in, because flexible framework is needed for magnetic field, into AI expansion, into... Well, those are needed for project assembly. So we do need steel beams, but... I would contest that we don't make steel beams on their own, and we don't bus them, because they're only used in one item. So we should use them as part of the factory in making that one item. So we don't bus steel beams, but we do bus steel pipes, because pipes are used in 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 different things. So we're going to bus the pipes. So we're not making steel beams, but we are making pipes. What's our pipe recipe? I know we were just looking at it, but I need to look at it again. Molded steel pipe. Bring in the raw steel ingots and bring in the steel. It has to be done in the foundry. I wonder if that foundry is going to give me any problems. Foundry, you say? Blender, 8 times foundries. Now, we know this one doesn't work, so I gotta fix this again. Or as well, rather. Wait, does it not work? Actually, I think this one does work. Because none of the elevators actually go into the splitters, right? At least not in the nasty way, right? Yeah, I think the foundry's gonna work on its own. That's funny, I thought I had to fix my foundries, but we don't make these often, do we? It didn't last time. It didn't what? It didn't need fixing, or it didn't work? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 should be fine. Just keep me levitating. Gonna need these coming over more than we thought, I think. Why auto-connect like that? Let's not auto-connect like that. And wouldn't you know it, since I didn't do it a single one, I don't have a single one at the ready for my concrete, do I? Why did you come out so much shorter than the other one? I think I see the problem. Alright, out you get. I needed to have it connected to the ground below. Could do this and delete the other parts. Or I could make a single one of these. Probably should make a single one of these. You literally checked if they worked an hour ago and they didn't. You mean the foundry? I don't recall checking the foundry. I recall checking something else. I could load up the foundry here and have a look, though. Load me the foundry array, please. Why would this not work? Everything's plugged in correctly. No, you're not. Ah, right, now I remember. Now I remember. Yeah, this doesn't work and needs to be remade. Well, join the club. The club of things needed to be remade. Let's first load up our bus belt. Why is it called ×3? It's ×6, right? So it seems. Anyway, I want this, but only one of them. Joop. Which is funny, because I think I made one of these when... Hold that thought. When I made the big blueprint, I made one and then copied it over, thinking, I'm so smart. But then I didn't think to keep the 1x. Now, if this was Factorio, I would have made a blueprint book of it and forgotten all about it. But this ain't your daddy's Factorio. This is ×1. And you're going to need sorted, aren't you? Yes, for one, test ass go away. And... It's already where it needs to be. That's convenient. Alright, clear the blueprint and find it. Just delete the faulty lifts and remake them. I don't think that'll work. Why don't I think that will work? I wonder if I can build this here and then assess the situation. Is that nicely centered? That is nicely centered. Yeah, it's kind of double lifting in here, so this one... How does this thing even work? Right, I see, I see. If I delete this whole thing and then just shunt it out, it should actually work fine. The difficulty is in shunting it out in such a way that it's actually going to work. Could I fix this, or should I make it again from scratch? I'll give it a quick go of fixing it, though. Bothers me so greatly that that works, but doesn't work. Yeah, see... C. Can't have these attached to each other, huh? Could delete these and then stack this thing up and then connect it another way, or I could... If you weren't here... have something like... Almost. If I made it a little further away, that would be less egregious. There's no problem in having you as close as that, even. And there's no need to have it be so dumpy and stumpy either. I can simply have it like so. Actually, that's so far away that it doesn't even plug in, does it? Alright, we need a halfway house here. That's pretty much perfect. And then this would be coming along here. Yes, it would. This is fine, but this also involves a lot of deleting everything, and I think it's faster and easier for all involved if I just remake it from scratch. Do I believe that? I've got all the back stuff working fine. All working fine. It's very basic stuff, though. Nope, I'm going to make you from scratch. But it should be rather easy to make from scratch. So clear the blueprint designer. And then let's make that foundry. And I can make one and then just multiply it easily enough. You could just make a blueprint for the middle and high connection. Yes, I could, couldn't I? It'd make it easier for slotting these kinds of things in the future, wouldn't it? Right, I like this thing completely dead-centered. Yeah, it's always going to be the same. Certainly makes my life a lot easier to do it that way. Right, in that case, I believe I wanted it that far back. I wonder if it's a good idea just to make a little stumpy. What do I call this? Stumpy connector and big connector. Stumpy lift. Hang on, something doesn't feel right. Cancel. Yeah, you shouldn't be there for one. Seems an odd thing to blueprint. But it could save me a bit of time. I'll still save that as Stumpy lift. Not a Stumpy life, a Stumpy lift. And then we want a bigger one. I wonder if this is going to auto plug in when I use it in the future. Guess I'll know soon enough. This is for the foundry, which I had right here. Yeah, I'm having my doubts this is going to work the way I want it to work. I say this is regular lift. And then we get rid of both of these. And then I once again bring out my foundry. Foundry goes here, and then I go, I want to add in my lift. I go... And I probably have you down into occasional use stuff. Do you wish to continue? No, I want to apply changes, then continue. So then I go blueprints, and I go, hey, Stumpy lift. Do you fit here? And it says, absolutely not. Why would I lift here? Why would I connect here? So no, this doesn't seem like a useful thing to have blueprinted. At all. Unless the problem is the height. I don't think it would be the height. Look at how nicely that actually connects, or would connect, in an ideal world. Or further down. Yeah, no, it was right in the first place. So no, this kind of thing does not connect nicely. What a shame. Okay, so we're still spending the time here. We're wasting time, but someday it'll all come together. Please give me foundry. I know I don't need a lift to feed the machine. Or rather, I will want one lift to feed the machine. But I still want them to work. So I believe what I said was I wanted to make one and then copy-paste it, right? Yeah, sure. Because doing this little routine is a bit annoying. That's a little too close for comfort. Surprised Roseanne isn't pointing out that I could be using a train for this. Right, that on its own is fine. So let's just say save as single refinery. This is a refinery, right? No, it's a foundry. One X foundry. Save the 1x foundry, and that way I can make more 1x foundries. But I want you away in my barely ever going to use list, and also Stumpy Lift doesn't work. And regular lift doesn't work. Alright, maybe we'll get somewhere here. Make the merger output also. I thought about that, but I don't have a problem making those. I have a problem making this. Also, you're not at all centered, are you? So I can just delete all of this, but not you. And then we set you up accordingly. Gosh, this is a lot of work for supposedly building the real factory. I thought I'd be storming ahead, not faffing around with this. And make no mistake, this is faffing. Let's center you first. Let's bring you as close to the edge as we can comfortably do. Maybe we do more comfortably, but that's fine. Then we get you there, and there, and there, and there. And that's no problem at all to bring you out. Shouldn't need much space in the middle, although you are, of course, not aligned. No, is that a problem? Is that going to be a problem? I don't think so. It's very, very easy to have these things merge together, but I will give myself space with which to do that. Perhaps even more space with which to do that. I'm sure the game has its reasons for rechanging its orientation when I am smacking down multiple of them, but for the life of me, I don't know why. Now, I want to merge you, and I usually like it when the goods come out the same way that goods come in. Am I about to find that these are flowing the wrong way? No, I'm not. Goods come in this way, so I want them coming out this way. That would be a horrifying thing to discover. Speaking of horrifying things to discover. Could I do something very awkward like that? No, then you're going to feel all kinds of messed up. It should be closer to one than the other. The one that has to do the straight route, it can be shorter, closer to. So I can have it like this. Find problem, solve problem. Activate happy juices in the head. Phew. Well, at least once, it's solved forever, right? How naive we once were. Or was it just me? We're not done yet. The outer ones still need to be sorted out, I believe. And once again, we can use the power of you, because I really like you. Up's a daisy, and it's in line with what's out there, so it's fine. It's not infringing on how far out this all comes. Or do it the scuffed, non-symmetric way. There's no reason to have it symmetric, and there's nothing scuffed about what we're doing here. Well, not the output part of this, at least. Alright. Dread to think how many more of our designs we're going to have to completely redo in the blueprint mode. However, it's nice to know that we have fixed the issue at hand. And we have all the information we need, rather than just going and redoing it every time. Which was an option. And for maybe a few dozen factories, just redoing it was the right option. But the moment we start doing many more, and it looks like we are going to be doing many more because the scale of what I need is now dawning upon me, fixing it at the root seems to be paying dividends. Well, it better be paying dividends. Okay, anything still to be fixed with this? Got good throughput for feeding out and feeding in. It should be easy enough to stack on top of each other. Very easy, in fact, because I can even merge the outputs rather nicely. Alright, sweet. Now I can save you as my refinery thing. What's it called? It is called... It's not refinery, it's 8X Foundry with a capital F. Was there a space in it? 8X Foundry, no space. The day is saved. And why did I build these refineries again? I think I'm trying to make steel pipes. That seems like something I'm trying to do. Power? Yeah, it had power lines and they're all lined up. Or they're all connected up. Okay, steel. Give myself ample space between these, and then we go and make our 8X Foundry. Don't know the sheer amount of these I'm going to need, but I'm going to hazard its lots. Lots and lots. So let's have you right there. Ooh, look how nicely it aligns with the foundation. I like that. I like that a lot. And now we will have more of them, and they will auto-connect. Will we have even more of them and have them auto-connect? I don't see why we wouldn't. Why does something seem wrong about this? Something does seem wrong about... Ah, I got flipped again. Why? Why does it flip it? Hey, you made it in this orientation. Maybe when you set up another one and you want to auto-connect it, you want us to flip the rotation. Brilliant thinking, Satisfactory. That working? I can't quite see over the top. Glorious. Back when I did Satisfactory, I did all my blueprints as fully enclosed buildings, including windows. More work, more convoluted. At the end, you have an actual factory everywhere stacked up. It was great fun. Yeah, if I was playing this on my own, I imagine I'd put a lot of time into making designs like that. But I ain't. So let me get my molded steel pipe. What's the consumption rate, by the way? Do I even make that many steel ingots? 50 a minute times all of this? I don't think I do. How many of these things did I just build? I think I built 8 times 4 of them, which is 32. And 32 times 50 is a hell of a lot of steel ingots, which I'm quite certain I don't bring that many in of. But who knows, I could just underclock this if it's that big of a deal. Point is, that's your job now. And it's not like those steel ingots are being used for anything else, are they? Whoops, I should bring power over first, because otherwise I will not be able to fly. And in the end, we all want to be like Yuna. You want to keep your concrete for other things like encased beams or heavy modular frames, or we could just make more concrete. Actually, how much concrete is this going to eat? 30 per minute. That's quite a lot of concrete. Probably don't even make that much. But if we need more concrete, we can bring over more concrete. Right, what was I saying? Yes, you. Let's copy you across. At least now the steel beam issue should be solved forever. Yeah, I can totally see there being issues with concrete coming in here, though. Right, concrete's all the way back here. Steel is here. And I believe we have our solution for bringing steel across. As we delete this, we bring in my awesome bus splitter. It's so awesome. Except it doesn't bleed and connect, but that's okay. And now off comes one nice Mark 6 belt of you, which we'll just bring in straight as a pretzel. Uh-oh. Oh, I put this all the wrong way. How did I build all this the wrong way? I must have started it in the wrong direction. Well, that's not very good, but completely solvable. Time to fix the blueprint? I didn't say that. I absolutely did not say that. Why fix the blueprint when we can simply bring everything over? It's not like we need this space. We have infinite space. As long as the end of this thing doesn't get all... Excuse me. Doesn't get bendy tipped on me. Easy money. Not infinite Mark 6 belts. Well, in a way. That is a bit of an oversight, though. One that I should fix on the blueprint, and I think I will. Well, now this is all well and good, but I also want the concrete brought in and split. Isn't this going to eat literally all of my steel, though? Yeah, but the steel has no other use, does it? Steel ingots are only going to be used for molded steel pipes, so this is what makes sense to use them for. I don't know the rate at which I have the stuff, but I guess I'll find out in due time. But now I also need the concrete. Show me the king concrete. Donk. Ah, that's right, I made a single line of these specifically for you. Okay. Blueprint, occasional use, 1x. And then align not with blueprint, just do default auto connect. There we go. And as long as that's in line, all is well. And it doesn't like it, but that's where we say, please do it again, but properly. Hey. Except, and this is a slight problem, I'm going to delete it. Because I want to siphon this stuff off. Using my beloved bus splitter. It's so cool. Make sure it's all in line. And it's fine to just drag it along there. Oh, that's right. The direction matters when you're connecting to one of these. I bet that's how it went down. I started my connection from the little lifty bits here when I was building the foundry blueprint. That way we wouldn't have had the guaranteed connection from the splitters. Does that mean it would have changed the splitters for me? Seems untoward. Right, anyway, I want concrete. I forget how much concrete, or rather wet concrete, I ended up making. I'm hoping it was about a bajillion of it. But who's to say? Relatively surprised that's okay. I'm not so surprised that this won't be okay, though. I could bring you along the top. That is funny. I'm not saying it's not funny. It is for me. I've got loads of money. Can I stack these on you? No, I don't think you like that. I'm certain you don't like that. Just trying to think of the best way to bring this thing over. Could do it in a weird way like this. To my surprise, you actually fit. And it's okay to bring you down as long as it's straight. Waste of space, waste of time crystals, waste of many things. But the one thing that's keeping me going throughout all of this is knowing that even though my factory's probably not going to be all that great at the end of the day, as long as I produce every good needed, time is on my side. Because it will get made, even if it's split off a split off a split, the things will eventually flow. And then victory will be mine. You need nudge, you cannot point under the belt. Need nudge, you cannot point under the belt? Things seem fine to me. Unless you mean with regards to fixing something there. Which you might. It seems like it might be prudent to check the production rate on this stuff. Anyway, we have you now. Now we're going to bring you up to there. Which you will do. Nice. Okay, very nice. I can have you like so. And then just drag you along. And shove you into one of these. Very nice. Alright, let's go places then. And it's not doing bendy tip things, thank goodness. I don't know what causes the old bendy tips. Actually, it is doing bendy tip things. This isn't going straight at all. I feel like we do better when I just tell you to go default. Then we end up with far fewer bendy tips. Although it looks like we're still getting bendy tips here. What is this? You know what? As long as it feeds into this, we're all good. So give me a hole. Make sure it's made for me. Cue people telling me that I don't need to buffer these. And me saying, I want to buffer these. Ah, there we go. Let the pipes flow. Starting to feel like I maybe used a bit too much extra space here, but hey, it's all going. Starting to wonder if I should sink these, just so it keeps on flowing and gives me a good idea of the numbers of things. That seems like it might be prudent to do. Yes, yes it does. No thank you, please. Although, at the same time, this extends out way too much. What else can I do? I could just make this without having it extend out so far. Just make enough space for a little bit of this.
I don't think that is an improvement.
Right, I get it now. So she says that when you do things that are simply aesthetic. Alright, one awesome sink coming up. Like I said, this will give me a good idea of production rates and such. Should I... Contemplating just dumping it right off and into here. I like the idea of those things constantly flowing. I quite like the idea of both of these things constantly flowing, actually. Wonder if I could be so greedy as to do this. Simply as a temporary measure, you see. Whilst I build other things? I think I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe I'll set these things up to sync when the game is doubtlessly running offline. And Darius says, good morning, Jake. How goes it? Well, good afternoon to you. Judging by my performance on streams so far, it's been a painful process of many degrees. Slay the Spire wanted my head on a stick, and it certainly got it. So which of these is going the wrong way? I like it when this comes out the way that goes in. So this is the one I want reversed. G for you. And let's just grab all of these. My entire mistake here. So I want it flowing from this way towards there. Really? That means... I get it now! I took the thing and I rotated it instead of mirroring it. That is the problem with this setup. I understand now. However, we have a problem. A pretty big problem. I can't rebuild this thing without messing up all of the lifts. So how do I reconcile that? Do I just live with the fact that it gets fed in a peculiar manner? It's not all that bad, because it means that the feeding can come in, around, and around the back. Although that does scupper some tiling plans. But if I were to rebuild this, I'd have to rebuild it like I did these ones, which is a bit of a pain in the bits. Although not entirely undoable, because I could... no, I'd still take them and individually rotate them. Ugh. All right, we're living with this issue. I'm not redoing all of that. Let's just clear this away so it doesn't bother me. Just redo it, says Jinko. Nope. No, 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 no. If we have to feed things around the back, then so be it. Right, what are we making next anyway? I would like to make reinforced steel bits. We need that's not called that, it's called encased. I want encased industrial beams made of pipes. So we take the pipes and then use the... use the concrete for it. That seems quite simple, as I can just split off the pipes and the concrete, which is already coming through, and then make them right here. Counterpoint, I'm going to need a load of concrete. Concrete's going to be used in the frames, right? Doesn't have to be. But it's probably the sane way to make them. 8 to 3 instead of 5 to 1, that's very good. Concrete consumption isn't that high. Where else is concrete being used in? That's the only thing. Okay, so as long as we make our encased frames and our heavy encased frames, we're good. I still don't remember how much concrete I had flowing in, but I bet if we check our concrete buffer, it's going down and not up. Although if it is staying the same, then I'm going to be very happy, but I don't recall how much concrete I brought over. Well, I'll be... We're bringing over 1 full Mark 6 belt worth of concrete. Which of course means I can't drag out 2 Mark 3 concrete things, but... I think that means I can rather happily just grab half of this and bring it over. Are these steel tubes used for anything else, actually? Yes, they're used for a bunch of other things, so it makes sense to belt them, but it makes a lot of sense for me to grab half of this concrete. Of course, it'll half the production of this stuff, but whatever. And then we bring you over. Why won't you go down? Ah, because you go down in weird and wonderful ways. Right, in that case, what we do is we make you straight out here. And then as long as you get over to that, all is well. But do it in a cool way. Cool enough. So half of the concrete's going to be coming along here. That means a lot of this is probably going to be underclocked and not actually put to much use. And these that come out, I'm going to need to take half of them by force if need be. For that I will need a splitter. There we go. I like it when it's actually chunk aligned, so I use something to line it up. Barely even looks wrong. I'm not sure it's going to want to get that high. He was going to go to class, but he got high. Could have cheated, he could have passed. Actually, isn't that sufficient? Sure doesn't look insufficient. Very good. TJM Bernard coming in with the points dump to show off that he doesn't need to gamble on this Friday. I think it's Friday. I think it's Good Friday, actually. He can still dump on pointless plebes. Which in this context is you, because you're not points dumping. There we go. Now I take off half of these, and as long as we create our encased industrial frames, we're pretty good. Now, encased industrial beams is done in assembler, and we just set up the assembler thing and fixed it, right? Right? How many of these things are we going to need? What's the rate, anyway? You're made quite slowly. You're made very slowly, actually. I don't know, 30 of them? Meaning 32 of them? Sure. Assemblers. I know I only just used this, but you better believe I've forgotten if it works or not. Well, here's hoping it works a-okay. It is a Good Friday, says Andarius. It's my birthday! Aww! Come on, everybody. It's Andy's birthday. He's been around this community for a long time. He's joined in the streaming. He has many accomplishments. Let's all sing together for him, and you better join in chat here. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Andarius. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip, hooray! Hip hip, hooray! Hip hip, hooray! Now you might think that was embarrassing for me, and it was, but I know it was a lot more embarrassing for him. And that's why people sing happy birthday. Okay. Bring over these pipes, if you please. Actually, I could keep them elevated. Yeah, exactly, Testula. This is pure torture. Oh. I get my jollies in unconventional ways. Ways that some might find unnatural. I feel like it would be prudent to elevate the concrete prematurely, so that I can get the encased frames underneath it without any issues. Very nice. This is why I gladly forget my own DOB. Oh, I'm glad I can make everybody's day a little bit brighter by showing you just how dark it can get. Blueprint, auto-connect looks agreeable. Is that more agreeable? Absolutely not. How many of these are there? There are 8. And I want 32 of them, and I probably want to underclock them a bit. Clipping? But I've never clipped in my life. Oh, I'm not going to start with you. What exactly is clipping here? Is it levitating? It doesn't like this, I think, for some reason. Whoa! Whew, catch me. Catch me if you can. It's fine, right? Why would it be a problem? The belt stacker counted as clipping. I could see that. Didn't count for me, though, and I'm the official counter, so it's okay. They're not working, of course, because they don't have something to do now. I said I was going to have 30 of them. We have 32 of them. So if we have 30 over 32 times 100, we get 93.75. I want you working at 93.75%. And then we're going to copy. Hope everything else is set up. I feel like I forgot to set up something along the way, but we can always do a quick review of everything we've built so far, make sure it's all working. The nice thing is, if I don't have enough concrete, which at a glance I definitely don't. Oh yeah, that's a sad amount of concrete flowing, isn't it? Wait a minute. I'm taking a third of the concrete here, not a half. Yes, that's wrong. That's very wrong. However, we could make it right if we pre-split it somewhere around here. There we go. Yeah, it did seem very anemic over on this side, but now it should seem delightful. It should at least match that. If it wanted to work, which it didn't. I think this didn't catch, actually. Never saw that film Catch Me If You Can. Is it any good? I saw the bathroom scene in it. The kind of fake it till you make it with the wallet scene. I actually dreamt about that scene. At the rate it goes, it's hard to tell if I'm getting enough well, actually no, I know I'm getting a full belt of concrete here, and this will meet all of my demands here. The problem is, when I build other things that need concrete, which I think are just heavy encased frames, I am going to run into this problem. But you know what? I don't feel like having problems today, so I think we'll be fine. The biggest scam in the movie is the premise, but it is good entertainment. Hank and DiCaprio, good cat. I wouldn't know. I don't think I could spot either of those characters. I'm not good with actors or names or celebrities. Faces, just memory in general. It's all one big quiz, and it's a quiz I'm going to fail at. Right, I'd say we're actually storming ahead in terms of factory building. Doesn't look like we've done much, but with all these parts that we have, everything will come together swimmingly. The question is, what do we do next? What is even next on our big list of things that we would want to make? Actually, there's a good place that I could see just a list of things. Talk to me about biomass. Biomass is on the list of things. It's a part for some reason. Now that we have encased industrial beams, is there something that I want to make with them? Actually, making heavy encased frames is probably a good idea. And that means making the steel frames. Hang on, why did I even put these on the belt? Oh, because of smart plating. I thought I only need them for steel frames, but I don't. I want to make steel frames. It gives me a 2:3 ratio, and it eats up these steeled pipes, which are needed for a bunch of things, including that. And those frames... what's it even called? I got a lot of frame crap. Steel frame? Iron frame? I know we were just looking at the thing, but I've forgotten what it was called. Modular frame, thank you. Modular frame. Modular frame is going to be the reinforced thingamajiggers and the steel pipes. Well, would you look at that? Those two come together right here. I could just drag them along and drag them down into a factory. And that's exactly what shall be done. I hope my old steel performance is going to hold up for the factory building going on here. But let's have some faith in it, shall we? I have faith in it. I better. I built Bleeding Thing. So I'm going to have these come along and drag it down for another part of the factory. And yes, I do flooring made of glass for the bus, so it's easier to see through. And fix it standard flooring for the factory part, because it's easier to judge distance. The ground is that bit easier to read. There we go, the buffers they're holding. How about these, though? I could do with more compliments from Ada. Is that too much to ask for? She used to be so quick to tell me what a good job I'm doing and how I'm helping out all the wee kitty cats and whatnot back on Earth. But now that I'm actually going for it, she's keeping mum. Which is a bizarre phrase to mean that you're keeping quiet. Specifically that you're keeping secrets, but I'm sure Ada's keeping no secrets from me. It's actually the name of a film, Keeping Mum. It's not a very good film, but you know how it is. Sometimes a very bad, well, a bad-ish film can be very amusing. And I watched it with good friends when we were staying in Orkney together for a lad's trip. Doesn't want to go there, but I can partially nudge you. Wait, what? Wow. Why? Why won't it fit? What? Yeah, exotic times over in Orkney. They're all weirdos out there, by the way. I have a quick question. Is it possible to build underground factories in this game? Yes and no. You cannot terraform, but there are caves in the game. Although I wouldn't say any cave is large enough to have a complete endgame factory in. There are... Actually, that's not true. There are very big... there are a couple of very big caves that come to mind, especially in the far north. If you desired, yes, you could. It would be awkward... but you could. You could also just build yourself a big structure, so you could have a big old indoor factory. There is nothing but time preventing me from putting up walls, lights, a little indoor Willy Wonka train setup. I could maybe even animate some Oompa Loompas if I put some skins on tractors and automated a path for them to move around, and I could pretend that I am master of the chocolate factory. I'm not doing that because it would be insane, but I could. That's the important part. Encased industrial beam? Because I can't spell encased properly. Encased industrial beams are only used for heavy modular frames, so there's no point bussing them. So what I will likely do is I'll just carry them down here to making encased heavy industrial beams, which will be done after I make the modular beams. So we make the modular frame using the steel pipes and the reinforced plates that come off the bus. And then those come together with these bits to make heavy modular frame, which will be made from... Well, anything that involves not having screws. So this one, 8, 10. That is a lot of encased industrial beams. Is that really worth it to cut screws out of the equation? Probably, because it goes 8 to 3 instead of 5 to 1. That's a monstrously bad ratio. And it starts eating rubber, and we know rubber is going to be gobbled up for a lot of other things. Well, not you. Alright, that's good. However, and it is a however, I should probably make the heavy encased frames here and the modular frames there, because I can pull off of the top bus to come down to there, make it there, and then bring it over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our modular frames, our heavy frames first. The heavy frames are made in manufactories. I would bet my bottom dollar that I don't have manufactories set up properly in the blueprint machine. I don't have a bottom dollar. Actually, that's not true. From all my travels, I've got a part of my desk just dedicated to old bits of money and cards and things from other countries. Probably a good bit of dosh in there, but it's just useless. Are you telling me I didn't make a manufacturer setup? Probably not, because they are huge. Well, let's go and build one that works. Can we make chocolate? No, that was Planet Crafter. But you absolutely can make it in Planet Crafter. Also, I'm interested to see how much that's going to sink. I want to see how much of a dent this makes in my awesome sinkers. About 900,000 per minute. Look at all those coupons. Whew. Is there a maximum number this can build up to, or could it build up to thousands before you print it out? Oh yeah, man. Ada loves her encased industrial beams, it seems. That thing just shot up. It's going to shoot up more, I dare to say. 3.7 per minute times 30-something. Getting about 100 a minute. That looks like 100 a minute. Eyeballing it. Did you ever use manufacturers in an automated setup and not just a hand-fed one? Let's not ask awkward questions, okay? You're just going to hurt people with questions like that. Planet Crafter rated 96% on Steam. True. It's a good game. Most of the problems are UX related, although it's got a lot of quality of life things missing. It takes a long time for things to get handy, but don't approach it like you would approach Satisfactory. It's more of a building, exploring, puzzle-solving game than a true giant in the automation genre. I've just realized I came here with no water, and I'm getting thirsty, so give me one moment to go and rectify that. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, that was easy. The water was there, just sitting on my kitchen counter. So, new blueprint. New blueprint. And we're sure we haven't built one already. Nothing here says... what are they called again? Manufacturers. It would appear not. Okay, let's get our manufacturing groove on. Let's make sure everything is cleared. And find out what we can find out about manufacturers. I see they cost motors. Why does everything cost motors? If you missed our stream last time, first of all, how could you? But secondly, we were desperately low on motors. I simply assumed that I would have all the motors I could possibly need. And you know what they say about making assumptions? Is this worth making one and then making more of? No, because the last time I did that, we made a horrible error because of rotation, so we're not doing that again. There's a problem here. There is not the space to bring these goods up. Could I make do with space here? Space, not spaced. Although I wish Simon Pegg could come here and solve my problems for me. I am dubious that we're going to be able to actually fit something in here that works, but we might. We might. There's also the idea that I could just have it so that we have two of them set up, but I like to think we might be able to get four going here. This fits at the very least. You can put 8 into a blueprint if you use 2 floors. I don't doubt that, but when I do my blueprints, I'd rather just stack them on top of each other than make them already stacked. Okay. If this is going to work, then this has to work. Am I going the right way? There we go, now it is. I see the line and assume it's okay, but it needs to be a moving dashed line for it to truly be okay. Right, can we believe that this could work in any conceivable sense? For that to work, we're going to need you guys working for me. However, I think this is very usable space along the conveyor lift. We know that we can't plug in the splitter directly into this, but I could run the belt along here and then split it in accordingly. That is a thing that we can do. Yes, we can. I see of no reason why this gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Hey, we could even do it in a cool way. I like cool solutions. That looks pretty badass. You could nudge the splitter in place. I think I could do better. Which is a great way for everyone to make horrible mistakes. See this thing that works really well? I think I'm better than that. And then come the horrific errors. Right here and a little bit away from it. I'm not sure I like the extra space that takes up. Could we hug really close? How close is close? I mean, I think this would work from here, but I want to avoid clipping if at all possible. And if you believe that, well... Let's see if we can actually make this work. I'll upgrade this later. I'm just using this for planning purposes. That doesn't work so well. You're going up the ways. Stick to the plan. Right, so the idea is we can have you run along here, and then I can split in... Oh, this might work. Oh, yes! That is absolutely connected. Of that we're certain, right? Because if I delete this, belt is there. Good. Very, very good. And it's snapped in place as well. Sweet. Am I sure I want the goods flowing down this way? Yes, because it flows back out this way. Cue people with 16,000 hours in Satisfactory going, I never thought of this. How can this man be blessed with such genius? Upgrading the belts will be a pain later with that small belt going into the lift. I can't imagine ever feeding one of these manufacturers with a tier 6 lift. We got a tier 6, tier 6 speed coming off of this. How could they possibly need more than 780 of a single resource when they're going to be sharing it with all these others? I don't see it happening. But there are a lot of things I don't see in my life. So it could be that I'm dead wrong and that you are completely right. But let's assume that's not the case. Let's assume that I've got a brilliant plan here. And it's going to work flawlessly. One of these is not like the other. I hope that's not going to hurt me in the long run. See, I can do you to you, and that's fine. But I can also do you to you. The direction should be fine regardless, though. Should I test this, or should I assume that it's going to work brilliantly? What do you mean clipping rules are tighter? Look at this no clipping that's going on. Not even touching the manufactory. Look at that. Clearance, 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 clearance. Clarence. Alright, we're good. Well, hell, we're too good almost. Seems too good to be true. I know, I know. But let us live in our delusions for now. It's there and it goes up by 2. Is that all uniformly going up? I feel like there's a bigger gap here. That's in line with that. I think it's okay. Well, easy way to do is to see if it actually comes down the same way. So down by 1, 2. Down by 1, 2. Down by 1, 2. Yeah, so it's fine. As God intended. Where were we doing our Clippersville? Not here, but here. Perfectly invincible. Sound like a used car salesman. I couldn't pull that off. If I were going to sell something, it would have to be something that I have faith in. Well, I don't know. I sold Golden Century. But I didn't sell Emperor Leviathan. And I will not try to sell Vicky 3. Love watching Kaladin pull his remaining hair out over Vicky 3. He's the biggest shill of that game I know, and he just keeps going on about how much he hates it. And I feel for him, because I want to love Vicky 3, but it's unlovable. All the systems, apart from the pops, are just kind of crappy and you wish they were better. And there was a dev diary recently on the military system. And it's like, yeah, we're keeping the military system as it is and we're going to fix the egregious issues with it. And I'm left wondering, is that enough? There's a lot of there's a lot of things wrong with it. Okay, seems fine to me. I didn't accidentally connect the belt to the backside of any of these. All should move on, all should move in, and all should go along. And it should also connect quite handily with itself. Except maybe with the fact that there's no clearance on the sides here. Am I okay with that? My thought is if I tile this together with itself, I'm going to run into the issue where these I end up with 2 of these. They won't overlap nicely Factorio style. Is it worth putting a little extra thing here just to make it a little wider? Don't know why I would, but what if I want to for some reason? Do this just in case. It might be complete nonsense, but it might help it a lot. Once again, the cool music that puts me in mind of RimWorld plays now. Get me my Muffalo. RimWorld, my beloved. I do wish elevators had some manual control to set a specific elevation. You mean the elevators that you build and ride up and down, or another kind? Because you can put in stops manually, I just don't think you can tell at an exact height? No, I think you can. We've got an elevator right here, after all. You just put in another stop wherever you want it. And then end up there. But that might not be what you're talking about. I wouldn't know, Idalic. Right, I'm fairly happy with this design, if it works. No guarantee that it does, but I want it to work. So let's go and see if we can make our heavy modular encased frames. 4X manufacturers? Is that what they're called? Manufacturer. Manufacturer. I don't think I use a space here. But I'd rather have a space, it looks nicer. And you better believe there was something important we forgot, and that was to put in a power pole. I can put it right slap bang in the center. Not quite, but close enough. Game claims it clips. I say it did no such thing. Actually, how did it think that was clipping? Looks like it's got clearance beyond clearance. I meant belt elevators. I haven't played in a while. Yeah, with 1.1 they added some cool stuff. Telling me that I actually started this run just a few weeks or a month too late. Then again, I don't know how long 1.1 is going to be an experimental for. I don't have experience with Coffee Stain and their development cycles. Ah, look at that flow. I am looking at that flow. And actually, most of these are functional. That's a good sign. And you keep on munch and all that. That actually doesn't give me very many points. So, probably not worth my time doing here. Maybe the correct course of action here is to buffer them here. Nah, buffering seems like a waste of time. Which is exactly why it shall be done. Jake loves his buffers. Infringing on what exactly? And that is okay? Actually, it is. Look at that. It's just not quite nixing the bits there. And we can still get it flowing from underneath. I like that. I like that a lot. So here we go. We're going to build up a buffer here. And as if things weren't good enough, we're going to make a dimensional toilet on top of it. Except I won't because I don't have SAM fluctuators. That's something I've been lacking for a long time. So let's consider automating SAM fluctuators rather soon. But not before we set up heavy modular frames. Heavy modular frames will use the blueprint that we just made. It will not be blueprint connected. It will be default but auto connection. Seems pretty good, except it's the wrong way around. That's better. Okay, how many of these things are we going to need anyway? Oh, crumbs. Alright, no auto-connect. Actually, I will want auto-connecting. Crumbs. The UI gets in the way of seeing the arrow, but it looks like it's coming towards me, as it should. So please go there. Don't do any of that, please. Maybe come a little bit further away. Yeah, how many of these things am I going to want? Maybe I should start with 8 and see how that works out. Consider the rate of production here. I want heavy encased frame. Modular frame, encased, steel pipes and concrete. We have everything except those modular frames, which will be the next thing we set up. Copy and paste and paste and paste and paste and paste and paste and paste. Reminds me of university. Doesn't use an egregious amount of anything, really. But it does tell me that I need more concrete coming up. That, or I simply split the concrete that I do have, which is probably what I do. And if I want to solve that, then I just need to feed more concrete into the system. That shouldn't be a problem. Can't imagine why it would be a problem. You're going to get access to half of the concrete. Thing is, you're not going to be built up just yet anyway, so don't sweat it. Also, you don't make me very many heavy modular frames. You make me essentially 3 times 8 per minute, and I feel like that's not going to be very many. 3 times 8 was a little less than that. Let's call it 3 times 7. Let's say 21. Round it to 20 a minute. And these things are used for making... At least it's 1-to-1 on fused modular frames. That's not a big deal, and that's for nuclear pasta. And the adoptive unit... maybe we don't need so many of these. Unless I find out that we need billions upon billions of fused modular frames, but it doesn't seem like a big deal. Jeez, I thought we needed to scale up in this game. I thought I'd need 100 of these. I think 8 will do us just fine. So, about all these pipes that are coming in, I said I'd just bring them down and feed them off here, and that's fine because I want them for other things anyway. I'm not going to take everything off of what's made here. I have a bus for a reason. I'm slightly disappointed at this, by the way. Could I do something about you? I want you stuck to the ceiling a lot better. Where do you come out, by the way? Where did I just peel you off of? I think it was here. I want you connected here. And you say it's too steep, and I say no, it's not. And then I want you connected. What? What? I don't know what's going on here, but I know I don't like it. We know that's in line. Get as close as you can feel comfortable with. Then meet up with that. Good, good. I wanted plenty of clearance for the line coming down here if indeed I need more, which I may well do. And let's keep the belt, or the bus rather, a-rollin'. Blueprints, occasional use. Bus belt. ×1, huh? I don't want ×1. Not yet, at least. I will, though. Get me... ×3, apparently. Okay. I want you auto-connecting with blueprint right way around as well. And go... And... go... You're going to beat the game 10 times with that much production. Oh, is that not what we're here for? Probably should have brought it out a lot more. Everything needs to expand out in this direction far further. Yeah, which also means that my power infrastructure needs to be there, if nothing else, so that I can fly. I want you connected to here. At least this one wants to land on the center. For some reason I just could not do a centered pole earlier. Feels good though. Feels good just dragging along the bus. And people said busing was not the right answer. Uh-oh. All-clad aluminium sheeting at an all-time low. That's not a production issue though, so don't worry about it. That's simply an upload issue. It's being uploaded over there as swiftly can be. But I know I need my concrete brought over here for you. Why is this off? I built you, but unfortunately I didn't lock you to the right blueprint. There we go. Yeah, I think I locked you to that blueprint instead of the ground blueprint, which was the intention. And then I want the single one coming along as well. And that is for you. Unfortunately, there's no good way to do this automagically. This one has to be done in default mode. Spin you right round. Link you up. Somewhat manually. My hands are getting in the way here. Disgusting. This is really hard to measure up. Strictly speaking, it doesn't have to all be completely lined up, but I want it. I want it all looking nice and uniform. I suppose if I were thinking about this ahead of time, I would have made it so that it would snap nicely. But that's not what I did. Actually, couldn't I eyeball it so that it lands on the center? Yeah, see, that's all the more reason to have these nice glass tiles on the bottom. Simply use those eyeballs. Sweet as. Anyway, bring this over because I need the concrete down here. Half of all my concrete's coming this way. And that does mean that thing that I just built is indeed going away, because we're going to use my cool bus splitter. It splits buses. Cue somebody wanting a very violent machine capable of cleaving a bus in half. Did you ever replace all the concrete with glass so it's just not such an eyesore? It's nothing to do with aesthetics. I do agree that the concrete is an eyesore. But up here in the Sky Factory, we use glass so that I can look through and see the bus and anything that goes above and below. And for the factory part over there, I use a standard fix-it foundation because it's got more easy to spot bits on it that allows me to line up things better. But yeah, we got concrete over there because, hey, it was the cheapest thing to do. Didn't require iron. Concrete is fast to make. And Warhorse45 comes in. It's their first time they've ever been in chat, or at least the first time they've said anything here, and they say, "Hello, Jake. Well, welcome. Welcome to the bus." I have been fed the conventional wisdom that busing in this game is bad. And that is wisdom I didn't want to listen to. So here we are. Doing bad things, possibly. Concrete at the bottom? Probably, because the other stuff's going to be fed upwards. Connect you to you, and you to you. Worth remembering that we didn't complete our power surge, and we can have approximately 4 times the capacity that we have right now. And the capacity is currently more than double of the consumption. Surely that'll all go up, especially as we begin schlooping things. But that's still a bit away for us. This mad guy's going to munch up half the concrete, but it doesn't really matter if things aren't completely up to par. Hey, there we go. So this spread this out. I wasn't sure if this would cause clipping issues. It probably, possibly wouldn't, but I didn't want to risk it, so this is here. Plus, this allows me to bring belts along here if, for whatever reason, I wanted to do so. Can't imagine what that reason could be, but I like having the options. So you're all going to fill up on hundreds upon hundreds of concrete, and I'm going to be left wishing that I had even more concrete coming in. I don't remember setting up wet concrete. I know I did it, but I set up 100 different refineries for things, so I can't remember them all. You need steel pipes and the encased stuff. Now the encased stuff... What was our conclusion on the encased things? They are literally only used for modular frames, so there is no point whatsoever in bussing them. If something is not useful for multiple items which we use, then it does not get the privilege of being on my beautiful bus. That is our conclusion. Why don't you like this? Also, what are you doing here? You might be causing the problems there. Why don't they like me? Well, it needs to be split and it needs to be one level above that, so that the solution seems simple. Befriend Batarians. Make dates with Batarians. Slam dunk some tummy tingling Tutanka juice into the mouths of starving Batarian children. This is where things become a bit of an oh bother, but that's why we have you. Hey, Kalpa. In case you missed it, you have one more mod brethren. Modesty absolutely destroyed Super Hexagon. And I was very happy to see it. Brought back very fond memories of the game as well. I do love Super Hexagon. How high is high here, by the way? Is that in line? That is absolutely not in line. I went one too high. Alright, there's two of your goods. The other two come from up there. Loving it. Does it work with a lane in the middle of the bus? A lane in the middle of the bus? I do not know what you mean. Oh, here's the bus. A lane in the middle of the bus? I don't know what you mean. However, here's a thought I didn't have. Is this going to get in the way of my belty blueprint? Let's find out. Blueprint auto connect. Well, I would go so far as to say it works perfectly. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Man, this is just... I don't have a better word for it than sexy. Makes me kind of wish I used that side as well for manufacturing. I could get things like, my SAM and such. But I think we just keep expanding this way. And then using all of this. Better overview if I can look at all of my factory on this side. I can wait till nighttime and start spotting yellow lights that tell me things aren't working. I mean, why is this not working? Probably because I make way too many of these tubes. But those tubes will be used in due time. In fact, you're going to be using a bunch of them already, right? Yeah, in fact, you're going to be using a ton of steel pipes. Well, I will not be achieving a lot of things of greatness in this, but I really hope at least some people will see the validity of my belief in the bus in this game. Again, a lot of people said, don't bus in this game, this ain't a bus-friendly game. But we here at Bus Simulator 2025 seem to understand it. Crunch. I'm going to need a lot more aluminium for this kind of operation, so we're going to go on a bit of an aluminium run. Unfortunately, that's easy for us to do. The splitter, Jake. The splitter. I don't know which splitter, and I don't know what problems. You there. Give me the goods. So this is our dimensional toilet, uploading the sheets as fast as possible, but we seem to need a lot of them, so... Wow, we are chewing through a lot of them. That's partly the problem, isn't it? Maybe I'll have to upgrade my aluminium production sooner than I thought. Or maybe we can ignore the problem. Ah, I like the sound of that. Ignoring the problem. I wonder how many crystals I have at the ready, because if I want to make a lot of Mark 6 things, I'll also be in trouble. Whee! I love hypertubes, and they love me. Is the bus the same as a Factorio belt? No, no. A bus is a system. where you drag all your goods along in a parallel, quasi-parallel formation, and then you branch them off, and then things get made and get fed back into the bus. So the bus drives along, it drops off some passengers, some new passengers get on, and then the bus continues along its path. It's a system, not a particular building. Alright, what am I doing here? I want to peel off the bits needed for you, and that requires more of you. So I need to continue to bring you along. It's definitely not a good idea in this game. I'm under no illusions of grandeur here, even though I might sound like I am. But the important thing is I enjoy what's going on here, and that is important. Now, what is coming along? Steel pipes, you say? The steel pipes are going to come along here and then get split one way or the other. And I think I could just shove them down to the ground and then out we go. Not even to the middle one, I can do it to the top from here. What about those modular frames? Are those actually going to be used in anything else? I believe they were, right? Yes, they're necessary for framework, and framework is of vital importance for project assembly, so we must do more. Just occurred to me, steel beams are used as part of that. So I can't avoid the necessity of steel beams. However, those steel beams will be made specifically for versatile framework, so don't put them on the bus. Just build them when we're building these versatile frameworks. Kind of makes me not want to put modular frames onto the bus, but I will anyway. If it's just these two items, it almost seems like a waste to bus them. But I will, because that's just how we roll. You're gone, you're gone, you're gone. And now we bring out our super cool... Well, I think it's super cool, but it's not on my list here. My super cool bus splitter. Which is just done default. And gets lined up good and proper. Oh, didn't even need to fix anything there. It just straight up works. And in you go. And out you go. And out you go. And out you go. And what goes out must have come in. Split those out and grab myself a Mark 6 Duda coming along here somehow. Are you man enough?
0 out of 10.
That was unnecessary, Ada. What are you getting out of this? Now, I think my best bet is to make a hole. The hole's probably unnecessary, but make a hole anyway. Make a conveyor lift hole. If only you were just slightly more aligned here, this would be cool. But that's fine. Get in there, and then out of you... should I bring this down? It's already cleared all of this. Bringing it down seems prudent. Get split, and then... Are you going to get in like that? You absolutely are. Ah, sweet. Let's just make it Mark 6 anyway. I believe I said I was going to go for the top and not the not top, right? Oh well, that's of little concern to me. It all goes in, and it goes in nicely. So now you've gotten almost all we need for heavy modular frames. I believe someone mentioned heavy modular frames being one of the great filters of the game, and look at us just effortlessly get it all after 150 hours of faffing about. Now for regular modular frames. Which I was actually planning on doing before all of this, but what can I say? I got carried away. I believe I said I'd do steeled frames. Good lord, I'm very glad I set up a massive industry for steel pipes. Looks like I'm using them for everything here. These are not steel pipes. These, however, are steel pipes. Some at the end aren't working. Don't tell me I make too many of these things. We make 50 a minute, and I think we got 32 of them. Ah. Should I underclock, or should I make a separate belt? I do make a lot of them, you know. Hmm. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 34, 15, 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perhaps along here we could make a new line. Yeah, because who would have thought we're actually making too many of these things? It's a thing of beauty in itself here. Didn't actually mean to lower it down as it came along here, but now I need to consider how these things are going to feed in. In a sense, it's kind of fine, but it's also not, because the front in this has priority on ingredients. Certainly does. So what's the best way to go about this? Also, I don't like the fact that you ended up slumping down there. Please do not slump down. No, do not feed into that either. That is even more verboten. Oh, I see, I see. That is remaining. I didn't even see it there. That's what it wanted to plug itself into, so to speak. Right, so how do I solve this little issue? I have 2 of you coming in. You both have approximately 800 per minute on 1200 per minute belts. I would actually quite like to balance you two between this, but how can one balance that? This doesn't balance quite as nicely as things do in, say, Factorio. 2x2 balancer. Not incorrect. I'm just trying to think what I can do within the space that I have here. Yeah, actually, maybe I split you into 2 things, I split you into 2 things, and then I merge those. That sounds like a decent 2x2. But could I do it in a condensed format? That's what I'm trying to get at. I think I could. Because what I could do is I could do you like so. That's a merger, right? I need a splitter on the bottom. Right, so splitter here. You come in like so. And then I want a merger. And I'm going to have one of you feed into it. And then I'm going to have another merger. How about we do it like so? Want another splitter on top. Someone somewhere is crying out in pain over this. Right, and half of you is going to fit into this. And now you are, dare I say, perfectly split. But now we still have half of each of these coming out in their own twisted way. And I need to bring them together with another merger. So it's you and you. That would actually be very befitting if I had you have you come out in another way. Yeah, so it's going to come out of there, or even there, and there, or even there. Which kind of tells me I could have you come up over here. And you're meant to get over there. That's fine then. So in you go. And someone still loves me. Your position is a little busted, right? Wait, what even are you? You're a merger, right? Ah, but that's an innie. The outie is now blocked. But what if I didn't care that much? And instead I just told you to elevate as soon as possible. I'll take it. It's not that they're clipping, they're just kind of going bling, 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 like a bunch of silicon tubes. One belt will always be full, and the rest on the second. Double storage could work in this case. Yeah, no, I want these actually split. And this seems balanced is what I'm trying to say. I do want these balanced, and that looks fairly balanced to me. Good to think of it as A and B. You go down there, and you go over there, and that's fine. And then you go down to there, and you go down to there, and that's all also fine. The main part is to get those ones at the back flowing as well, because yeah, this was congested. Of course, the part of the problem is this top bit gets congested because this is not operational, because we don't have modular frames yet, and we're going to do that right now. Why did I not do modular frames the very moment I said the word modular frames? I only require... Oh, I was probably looking at my requirement for steel pipes and then went back to look at them. Yeah, steel pipes and reinforced thingamajiggers in assemblers. Did I fix the assembler issue? This will have been the last assembler batch we made. I think I did. I strongly recall building this. And the issue was that because I multiplied it and flipped it, it doesn't go the right way around. Am I bothered by that? I'm a little bit bothered by that, but only a little bit. We will cope with the situation. Fixed it, but introduced a new problem. This is meant to be building stream, not coding stream. Hope I'm not running out of my high-speed connectors. Eventually I'm going to have to get around to automating computer-related things. Notice that we haven't done any Caterium or copper wire-related things. And thinking about it, going all the way to computer doesn't require any of the stuff we're doing here. So perhaps that should have been a priority. Anyway, don't worry about that. Worry about this. Please give me 8 times assemblers. We sure I didn't fix this? Looks pretty fixed to me. See that? They're coming in up one side and then down the middle? Am I certain I didn't fix this? It looks incredibly fixed. Maybe I did fix it. Okay. That doesn't sound like me. What? Okay. You fixed it. Okay, thank you. I know it might sound like I've got absolute dementia sometimes, but you have to understand, I'm just a streamer. Modular frames. I'm not convinced I'm going to need a metric butt ton of these. You see, we eat 7.5 a minute times 8. 7.5 a minute, and 7.5 a minute times 8. Assuming this thing is working full pelt, meaning we need 60. And if I have these things being made, I make 3 per minute times 16. Notably, that does not meet demand. Is that a problem? Maybe not. We're going to assume absolutely not. Did I say I want these things on the bus? I think I did, yeah. That means it won't meet the demand at all, which means I'm going to need a whole bunch of this. How many reinforced plates do I even make? Because these things eat a fair number of them, right? 2 per minute times lots. What's my current production? This is where Factorio style information would come so very much in handy. I'm certainly going to find this titchy little factory for making these is insufficient. But it's very easy to double. Make 8 per minute per one of these. Actually, that's much better than I thought. Wait, is it? How many did I just say I consume per minute? Consider putting map markers with production rates. Nah, sounds like too much work. 8 per minute per machine over there, and these eat 2 per minute. Huh. Okay, that's nowhere near as bad as I thought. Anyway, get to work. Copy and paste, and then feed. Feed like we're playing the Ironclad. Transmutation, why did you let me down? At least she's not laying into me for putting the foundation on my bus. I guess Ada just really hates buses. Probably had a bad experience on one at some point. Possibly in Helsinki. Boy, I'm feeling very, very smirky about all the wet concrete and the long time ago we set up a big steel buffer, which seems to be holding rather nicely, although we don't know that. I have no idea how much is in the buffer. Nothing from up top needs to come over here, and you're going to be fed along the bottom, so that is A-okay. That's not true at all. These things need the steel pipes, which are right there. Yes, okay. Don't believe my own words here. I wouldn't. Would you trust a man who murdered his father? Right, we're bringing that just straight down over here and just trim away a few of these and we're good to go. Actually, both of a few of these need to go. They're all coming down. So yes, all of this is going away, away, away. Away, away, away. Zoop. Because it's time to use my ultra cool. Ultra cool. How have I forgotten the right numbers for the right buttons to press here? I absolutely have. I have managed to forget the button that I press to check my other blueprints in this mode. There was a way to bring up a scroll wheel. And I've managed to forget it. Oh well, that's why the Q button exists. Give me my super cool bus splitter. Which hopefully still works fine with this kind of setup. Yeah, there's no reason to think that it wouldn't. Notably, they don't even overlap like that. Oh, that is so cool. Meaning I can bring you down like that with minimal problems. And I dare to say that I will. Was it hold E? It was hold E, thank you. You'd imagine after 150 hours or so this kind of stuff would be completely internalized and not a problem, but that's your powerful imagination at play, because I could make it into a problem. Trying to understand that moment when my mother's at the checkout standing there going, I've completely forgotten the PIN number for my credit card. And I laughed and said things like senior moment. And now it all makes sense. Right, that's been split off. It will be coming down and then splitting again. And since this isn't blueprinted, it's not a problem for me just to grab it. Although I'll grab it with the fancy mark. 6 lift, bring it down as far as one can, and then just make sure it's in line, although that's very hard to judge. I think that's okay. I hope that's okay. Do you want to go in there? Yes. Do you want to fit in there? Also yes. You have some problems with that, but only some. And then you come along. Funny thing is, I don't even need to put a hole in the ground here. It's only a little funny, though. I like the aesthetics. We're getting our hole. Karma, yeah, karma's gonna bite me in the ass someday. It's done a good job of not biting me, though, I've gotta say. I lead a pretty good life. This does not clip. I believe we tried this before. Yeah, this still gives me clearance. Sweet. The used car clearance continues. I think this is in line with you. That sure feels in line with you. Continue the splitting. I should have done this in a different manner. It's not a huge deal, but what I should have done was build another one of these right here. Like I said, not a huge deal. Because this won't infringe on anything. Splendid. Now they get all their goodies, and as long as I wire them up, they're going to continue to work for me. Hey, look at it activate like Robot Wars. Bring me the modular frames. Bring me the black crystal. And then we're going to bring you right the way up. It's nice having these conveyor poles everywhere. It makes it a lot easier to just grab onto them so that I can do things like this. Do a little jig like this. And I hit her in the mouth with my fist. One can't help but wonder that I should probably just elevate you like this. What's the correct level here anyway? Is it that? I suppose even if it's not that, it'll correct itself. It will, indeed. Oh, that's good. Alright, let's get straight then. Let's get something straight. And can I align this with something like you? Yeah, but let's actually align it with the actual bit that we're using. Oh, that's... Parkinson's moment right there. Gosh, this is nice and easy. I love that we set the things up, but we also get the logistics set up in one fell sweep. I am definitely receiving the payoff in terms of endorphins in the brain. Is this endorphins? I thought endorphins was when someone gives you a hug, but I could be dead wrong. Whatever it is, it gives me these satisfying feeling in my head for a job well done. Dopamine, thank you. Okay, well the dopamine is flowing. Because I gotta say, this feels so good. Makes all that stressful... Well, was it stressful? It was certainly tedious. Makes all that tedious work feel like it's being richly rewarded now. Is that centered or is that centered? Lock that in place and have a wee look. Glad I checked. And now you come over and somebody says, why do you buffer this? You don't need to buffer this. It all flows. And I say, well, I don't say anything. I just build. He just builds. I copied that, but it decided to correct the flow for me. This game keeps thinking it knows better than me. Many people have tried that one. I'm yet to find one that succeeds. So now all the frames start coming along. Look at them go. Look at them flow. And look at them buffer. At least they will once this stuff stopped flowing. Hey, that was weird. It did split it there. I was under the assumption that it only came out of the top. Ah, no, I understand. It's coming in faster than it can spit it out, so of course it will work like that. Endorphins are from exertion. Post-workout high is the usual example. I'm very familiar with that one. I love a good workout. Do I love what's happening to the concrete? Look at that concrete, no longer flowing at the rate we once knew because we now consume it faster than we flow it in. Does that mean we need to expand our wet concrete production? The answer is yes, but also no. As in, yes we do, but we're not going to. We will do that when that becomes a problem. Our current phase of the factory is to build, build, build. Because whilst the concrete might not be flowing optimally, a lot of things aren't flowing at all. And until we have all of our raw goods flowing, there is no point going and increasing the output of one thing. So do not despair if you thought I was going to go down back into the concrete mines. Although I do love wet concrete. Oh, so good. Am I going to need more modular frames in this? I already feel like I want to double this production. And if I feel like I want to double it, I might as well take advantage of the fact that it is so easy to now double things. Because of all the work I put in to make this possible. In you go. And in you go. And if this ends up being too much production, then it's just right because we can underclock things. And after doing that, the only thing we need to do is line up the power. There's bound to have been something that I doubled and forgot to line up the power for. But that's odd. I would see red lights or... Yeah, I'd see red lights if that were the case, right? No. I'd see red lights if I hadn't given them an order. Which is exactly what happened here. And I'd see yellow lights if they were not powered. If you didn't have power, what would it say? Is that red and flashing? Fascinating. Anyway, if we see yellow or red, it's a problem worth investigating. A few yellows, whatever. But any red or lots of yellows, and we have a problem. And this we know it's red because it doesn't have its modular frames. But it's about to. Because those modulars are flowing now. And I need them brought down here. Nary an inconvenience. Red is also no power. Yeah, it's kind of a shame that it's two different things from one color, but I'm sure we can cope with that. Please show me my bus splitter. You know, this wasn't even meant to be a day for Satisfactory. if I end up having not Satisfactory fun tomorrow, when I think I do have Satisfactory on my schedule, it'll all be current Jake's fault for stealing the thunder. Because this is fun. This is a lot of fun to me. Well, ignoring the early pains that we had when our blueprints didn't work. But now we figured out why the blueprints didn't work. And from that problem was born a new solution. Professor Layton would be proud. But Professor... Oh, Link, you must find the solution. Could do with some more Professor Layton. It's been a while. How long ago was that Professor Layton 24+ hour stream? Also, was that done in Sweden or in Hungary? I cannot recall. I feel like it was Sweden because that's where I had a vast number of pomegranate seeds, and that was my food of choice during that run. Slightly despairing at my choice here. No, I'm not. Okay, I thought I put the pipes down further than I did, but of course, I thought ahead. Sweet, well, thank you, Jake. That means that goes in straight as a pretzel. Clipping? What clipping? And then this one, not a power line, this one. I don't know what this is claiming to be, but in you go like so. Like a dream. Like an absolute dream. And now these actually go, and we're getting heavy modular frames. A supposedly difficult thing to automate. November 2021, Sweden. Not just Sweden, that was before I went to Japan. Oof. Is this actually flowing right? I mean, it just feels like I'm barely getting any frames out of this thing. I guess they do run pretty damn slowly, but whenever they finish, they do pop out 3 of them. Ba-da-doot. Ba-da-doot, ba-da-doot. Oh, right, it comes out in bursts, doesn't it? Because of the way I assign them their tasks. Also, it's just a slow machine. Certainly not worth the schlooping. Schlooping will be for the absolute end game products like ballistic warp drives and AI. Well, basically, that stuff you see in the top right of the screen obscured by chat. Phase 5 goods. Okay, well, with the heavy modular frames going on, what's the next step? The next step is probably to get going on computers. And given that computers don't actually use any of the goods that we're faffing around with here, I'm sorely tempted to actually do the more computational part of the factory on that side. I've already used up quite a lot of space here. I want to keep all the space above it for elevating things, but going off in that direction is going to make everything very, very long. Whereas if I start building on this side of the factory... My concern is that I lose sight of everything. You know, oh, what's over here, what's over there. Maybe I could make massive billboards. Yeah, I'm wondering why this is red. Did I miss giving it its order? That's exactly what I did. How? Those modular frames are taking a while. I wonder if that's a problem with the manifold. Yeah, it is. This guy's eating up all of them. Once this guy's stopped acting like sand and eating up every snack around, the rest of them will grab their goodies and this will all be flowing. But flowing to where? Why do I have this stuff again? Are those heavy modular frames for the bus? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I might as well bust them. I can see of no reason that this should not be bussed. Okay, in that case, let's blow this joint. There's no way this stuff needs Mark 6 belting, but it's what it's getting. Getting kind of complicated, isn't it? Well, that's okay. Yeah, there's no way in heck I should be making this stuff into the Mark 5 belt. And Mark 6 belt. These things get produced at an agonizingly slow rate. But think about the future proofing. No, let's not. Let's minimize the thinking. Think about the level. It's still probably a bit too high, but that's okay. It will normalize. And then we bring you along. Oh dear, look at that. Look at someone that's in the way. We have ways around this, but what's our favorite way? Can we nudge with this? Have I even tried to nudge with this? Ooh, cool. This stuff nudges. I was not aware. But I guess I am now. Please straightly come over here and then enjoy your slight nudging. Why is it still bending? This straight mode is never as straight as it seems. Default mode, on the other hand, seems fine enough. So if I get you there and then there, then I should be able to bring you through. No harm, no fuss. No harm, no fuss. That looks a little like a little bit of harm. And yes, I know I could do this with ceiling mounts. Also, these ceiling mounts just ain't looking right. Okay, the correct option is to use ceiling mounts. Enough of the silly buggers. And it even lines up like that. That is cool. God damn it, when things work in this game, they work so good. Practically salivating over this like Fishlips does with his love of Archipelago. And it's not a misplaced love. I also love Archipelago. Alright, now I can straightly bring you down here because this belt was made for you. It's getting a bendy tip, I can see it. Please don't do bendy tips. Why is it do bendy tips? You even set it to straight and it goes bendy. This much spaghetti got me salivating too. I'm glad you're hungry. But you know what would sate that hunger? Some trains, I'm sure. But we won't be seeing those here. I can't imagine any use trains would have at this point in the run. For my factory, at least. My beloved factory. Don't think this ended up being necessary, this extra line of foundations. It's just making me bonk my head all the time. Alright, get holy. Reverse flow. I used the Mark 6 elevators, because that's something I'm more likely to forget about when doing an upgrade run. There we go. Now they flow. Whew. It's nice to see it. It's really nice to see it. All these resources. Ada's going to be so proud. Fishlips died. A demon that hungers for Archipelago took his place. I can believe it. Right, so with the heavy modular frame, we do inch ever closer, but if we want to start making things that bring us towards the space elevator and project assembly, we are going to need computer parts. And those computer parts are going to be part of making supercomputers as well, which go into this, which go into that. So I actually think we're closer than it even seems. This isn't even a lot of stuff we've manufactured, but we're able to cut out a lot of the fat. That said, we do need to do a lot of computer stuff. I didn't do rotors, stators, or motors, though, and those things are going to be needed. Didn't actually stop to consider that, did I? If I go rotors, I'm going to need wire and, wouldn't you know it, steel pipes. I'm glad I make 1 billion of those things. Seems like a good trade, though. So yes, we're going to use wire for that. However, that's going to... We're not going to make a copper wire belt. That seems ridiculous. The copper wire ratios are absolutely use ingot levels. Then again, with Mark 6 belts, is that really a problem? If I just made a ton of wire and shoved it onto the belt and I had an ungodly amount of it moving down, is that really a problem? Is it actually a problem belting it? The rates that we achieve in this far eclipse anything you do in Factorium. Maybe I should belt wire. It's going to make less stressful situations of bringing off the ingots every time that I need wire. I might be okay with that. What about cables, though? I believe I wanted to make coated cables, because it uses heavy oil and not many other things do. I don't know how many cables I'm going to be needing, but I'm not opposed to making my cables through coated cables. Really slims down on the amount of wire used. I mean, from 2 to 1 to 5 to 9. That's almost 4 times the output on the copper wire, right? I don't like the idea of using rubber. Rubber is needed in vast quantities, and I don't like the idea of using quick wire and rubber for an even bigger reason. So I think I could just grab my cables and make a ton of cables and then actually shove them onto the bus. Yeah, big cable manufactory. How are we going to be making our wires then? I'm thinking this because I'm wanting to make my rotors and motors and stators, and if they need copper wire, then I should probably get going on copper wire first. And whilst I was against busing it, the more I think about it, the more I think I want to bus it. Ooh, quick wire stator has got to be the way forward here, right? Yeah, quick wire stator. Stator makes motor. I don't think I want to add this thing. This thing's a pain in the bum. And I have no problem just using stators and motors to make stators and rotors to make motors. And motors we're going to need for... Hold the phone there. I can cut stators entirely out of the everything. No, I can't. They are needed for speed wiring. Okay, thought maybe I could cut them out. Okay, but when it comes to those motors again, do I do the basic one? Yeah, I probably do the basic one. I don't like crystal oscillators. Although, look at that output. Instead of 2 to 1, it's 3 to 6. That's a lot better on rotors and stators. At the cost of having to do it in a manufacturer and tons of cables. Tons of crushed quartz as well. Still not sure I'm keen on that. Not sure I'm keen on that. How often are these used? Crystal computers, which may or may not be good. Radio control units use them. Yeah. Also superposition oscillators use them, although I'm not sure that's the only way to make them. No, that is the only way to make them. So I'm going to need these, so I'd probably rather not use them for that. So okay, we'll use fairly basic motors, but we'll use the different stuff for stators and the rotors. Okay, good. I'm satisfied. Let's get to work on the computer side. And yeah, I think computery things will go over here. So stators, rotors, motors will be here. Wires, oscillators, cables, circuits, high-speed circuit things, they all go over here, which means I need the infrastructure over there as well. Means I need a cutoff point, and it also means that if this bus ends up insufficient for my needs, I'm going to have to do something about that. Also means I'm going to need to have... Oh yeah, we still need gas brought up here. Haha. Wait a second. What if we don't need all this water and I just substitute one of these for gas? Ooh, now that's brilliant thinking, because I don't think I'm going to need as much water as I've given myself space for. Yeah, I like that idea. All right, nitrogen gas. What color is nitrogen gas? That good enough? Good enough to differentiate it? Good enough for me. Oh, I should keep that color, though. You have become the gas. Because I didn't want to extend out the fluids infrastructure I had here. Simply to accommodate that. That means you don't need pipes, though you don't need pumps rather, but with power being functionally infinite, I don't think this is a big deal. Nitrogen is grey and silver. Doesn't matter. As long as it's different and it's kind of greyish, we'll be okay. Okay, these frameworks don't even matter, so I could actually just hold this down and go do 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 do. Do 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 do. And then I guess I'll get rid of the pumps. No head lift, no problem. Ooh, easy now, easy now. Got to think about the aesthetics. I didn't accidentally delete part of the pipework there, did I? When you start dragging away and start deleting, you might actually snag something else. I got a little bit too gung-ho there. Gonna suck to realize I'm wrong, though, and realize that I actually wanted the extra pipework there. But there we go. Nitrogen is now on the bus, and that makes it easier for me to say one way or another. Wait, why does this just stop here? One way or another, it comes to an end here. Jake, use the filter more when deleting or coloring. It makes your life easier. I do keep forgetting that. You can filter for coloring? Oh, that is handy. I'm left wondering why this was off by one in the first place, but maybe I shouldn't think about such things. There we go. There's going to be a whole lot more bus to be building here. And I guess that's okay. What's the next part to consider here? Wait, why did I even put this up here? Oh yeah, because this is space for more things on the manufactured part bus. Which I'm not sure if we're going to need all of, or if we're going to need more, but we can always build up, as Ada told us. Up is absolutely an option. That does mean that this stuff here, though, is a bit superfluous. I'm going to delete this and make a new part for the... a new part over for the computer stuff manufactured. It does mean some of that stuff has to come a long way over here. But that's not really a problem, is it? I don't perceive it to be a problem, so let's get started on it. And by started on it, I mean we'll do it next time. I wasn't really geared up for 3 days of lots of Satisfactory in a row. We're going to have more of it probably tomorrow. Because I enjoy this game, no doubt about it, but my god, it's been around for a while. I want to make a beautiful bus, get all the goods, blast off Project Assembly, and save the world. And we will get it done in due time. But that'll be it for me for today. I'll be back tomorrow with hopefully DDR. Really planning to get DDR and take another crack at the non-stop 100 doubles. And then after I break into pieces after that, take a shower and come back, hopefully it'll be more satisfactory. Yeah, as Kalpa says, I will save the day, and I intend to. But until I'm back with that, it's a cheers and a cheerio.